Three, two, one. Boom. And we're live. How you doing, Tupper?
You
It's been
did
a
it.
while since we've
I'm doing.
talked.
Yeah. That's I'm glad we got all this sorted apparently.
It's been a major setback over the last couple months, but
Hmm.
I'm glad we finally got it sorted out. As a quick
Yeah.
disclaimer before we start, all of the views and opinions held by those on this show are not reflective of the companies we work for or organizations we are affiliated with, as they are only representative of the individuals on this show. Is that right?
That sounds about right. That feels familiar, almost like I've given that line a couple times before.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So can you, for those who don't know, can you elaborate on your job title? What exactly you do at VRChat?
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, I work for VRChat. My name is Tupper. I do my official titles are community manager and designer. So, community manager, comma designer. In actuality, I do tons of things. Like with any small company, you wear a ton of very small hats, or sometimes very large hats, or sometimes hats that are temporally, relevant, and sometimes aren't. But that's the majority of what I do. A lot of people think I do things I don't do, which is honestly more entertaining than what I actually do. But
Yeah, you've kind of become the scapegoat of all problems that regard VRChat. Unfortunately, anytime there's a problem in the game, everyone just yells at the heavens and is like, "Tupper, fix it."
yeah,
But
I'm like I'm the guy in the cloud, right?
yeah,
Not because I live there. I mean, I guess VRChat, probably runs in some kind of cloud, but no, it's weird. Like I've been on the internet for a little bit, uh, and I kind of got used to people being jerks, and that kind of just worked out over time. Most people aren't jerks when they're mad about stuff. They have a reason. But yeah, it does, because I'm the face to a lot of people. That
yeah.
does happen.
It's I remember talking with this talking to Pastor Brock about this, about the whole
Mm,
like road rage mentality of how people are just mean online because you're
yeah,
an avatar to me. You're not a real person, and I can yell at you all day. I'm yelling at Tupper. It doesn't matter. I'm not
yeah,
yelling at the real person. So
yeah,
that's kind of the dehumanizing aspect. But
yeah.
what previous jobs did you have before VRChat?
Uh, Completely unrelated stuff. Strangely. So before I worked for, hold on, I got, like, speaking of being an avatar, I have a friggin' hair inside of my headset. It's poking me right in the eyeball. Anyways, before I worked for VRChat, I worked for a subcontractor of the U.S. Navy,
Oh wow.
and we did. Hold on, I'm reassessing where lines are drawn. I did data analytics for a company that built statistical models uh, of military equipment, essentially. Like, what should you buy, what's going to break, that kind of stuff. Um, that was interesting, and it paid very well. And I got to live in a pretty cool place, um, which was around the Washington, D.C. area. But that kind of got, like, I can respect people that do that for their entire lives, but I got bored. So
So
opportunity presented
to
itself.
my understanding, you kind of just like stumbled into VR chat as a dev. Like it wasn't something you were actively
No,
is that
yeah, that's right. Like, it's actually funny. Ron tells this story a lot as well. The CCO of VRChat, he's like our big design guy. He's also got a ridiculous history. But regardless, I ran into him in it's this parking garage world. Like, literally just people standing around in a friggin' parking garage chatting about shit.
I think I know that
And
one.
yeah, and there were so many things that happened in VRChat that night. It was so weird. I don't remember what night it was, but I had, like, this sign because I was currently parading around this idea for a community council. Which, if you've ever played Eve Online, I wanted to do the same thing as the CSMs in Eve Online, but in VRChat. In retrospect, shit idea, uh, but it basically would be like a council of, like, community members who are, like, currently creating stuff. It just makes drama. It's a bad idea, but we sat there for like 3 hours just chatting about shit and, like, ideas and bouncing stuff around. And I guess you remember that. and a couple months later, I had an application in it, just a general application, and then the Knuckles boom happened, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, we need someone to help out with a bunch of various like community things, namely emails at the time." So that's what I did.
So,
And
did you have any previous experience in VR development, like at all, besides just being a
no,
consumer of VR products?
no, I was actually kind of late to the VR craze. Like the first time I ever put on like a commercial VR headset was they had these demo trucks for the HTC Vive, and one of them came to DC when I was in the area. My parents were like visiting as well. We would go in like the Smithsonian, all the typical DC shit, and that was fun. But then I saw that pop up on Twitter somewhere that they had the truck there, and I was like, "Hey, let's go try this out." My dad loved it. My mom was very afraid of the. They had the lab on demo, so when the floor falls out from beneath you in
Yeah,
the portal
yeah.
thing. That she was just like, "Nope," headset came off. But that was the first time I actually tried VR, and then like I immediately bought the Vive and the Rift like on launch day because they
Oh
did this
wow.
before launch, and
Yeah,
then I
I think
resold the Rift because the Rift sucked at the time. They had no controllers.
my first experience with VR was with the Gear VR, the Samsung Gear
Ooh.
VR. I will tell you that when you put an S7 in there, it gets hot. It's so bad. It's
Oh,
so
I bet.
uncomfortable, but it
Like,
was it was so cool. Like it was nothing I had ever experienced before. I had just seen videos of the CV1 Rift, like the original Rift online,
yeah,
and people doing like whatever, like Minecraft in VR, and it was very rudimentary. But then like actually being able to put it on and see it in something, especially with my phone, I mean something that's running on a Snapdragon, it's not that
yeah.
powerful. I was immediately hooked, and I went out and I ordered an HTC Vive for my computer, and then subsequently every single upgrade I've made to my computer was really just because of VR. I just needed it to
Yeah,
run
same
VR
here.
better.
Yep,
So it's
sounds
been
very familiar.
it's been an interesting development. So what would you define VRChat as? Because it's been called a game, it's been called a social platform, or like a sandbox. Just like what is really the definition?
Um, well, it's not a game. You're right. People have called that. It is not a game. You can have a game in it, but it's not a game. Um, it is. I'm trying to put together like terms here. A virtual reality social platform consisting of user-generated content. Basically, it, when you put all those together, you get the broadest and the most precise definition you possibly can. Because as you well know, like in VRChat, you want to go play like a shooter game, you can. It's not the best, but you can. Like it's very much a jack of all trades kind of UGC platform. Um, there's you can basically implement any game idea you have, or even just like a hangout, which is what most people use it for, of course. Um, but yeah, there's I don't know. It's really difficult to pin it down any more specific than that.
I think ever since Udon was introduced, it's been
Mm-hmm.
real, like that was a big game changer, because I've seen so many implications. I mean, not just on Avatars 3.0, but on just every world in general. I saw one that was replicating like the GTA 5 physics, just like the physics engine, which was so funny to me. But I'm sure it's so new, because it was written entirely by the VRChat team. Is that right?
Yeah, that was ground up from literally nothing. It was yeah, built completely in house. It took a while, but the end result was much better than the alternatives.
How long was a while? Is that a couple
Uh,
years or?
um, I gotta kind of hand wave it a bit, but yeah, it was like probably if not 2 years, then like a year and some change. We had the ideas. The idea existed even before I like started working for VRChat, honestly. So, but I don't know the exact length. It's always been an idea because before VRChat was on Steam, you could just write C# scripts and just like load it, right?
Yeah.
Like you could just load mono behaviors. But that was before Steam launch. But of course, that's not a great idea to have something like that on Steam. Like
Yeah.
just execute code remotely.
Steam is
That sounds like
the Pandora's box. Once you open it
yeah,
up there, anyone can do anything really.
yep.
So, can you kind of explain, cuz even I don't really know what udon is. Can you kind of
Mm.
explain for the people who don't know, like how it
Um,
functions?
I can give you the about as far as I know technically, which is that it is a complete programming language. It's not like, a scripting language or anything like that. It is, it's a full but sandboxed and also like, carefully curated ability to access the logic and functions of Unity. So you actually are writing code. You can do it either via the node graph. You can use it Merlin's Udon Sharp, which is also a consequence of the way that it was built, that people can write their own like compilers essentially. So if you want to make like Merlin's U Sharp is basically just C Sharp, so it's compiling C Sharp like code into Udon assembly. So however you make that Udon assembly, whether it's via the node graph or something, it gets fed into the Udon. I think it's reasonable to call the virtual machine. I don't know. I'm reaching the limits of my knowledge, but basically actual real programming language doing actual real programming language things. It just means that we can control it because we don't want people to like, call delete on like your system 32, obviously,
Yeah. It
But yeah.
from what I've looked at it, it seemed like obviously there's a learning curve to it, but it seems all
Oh yeah.
pretty intuitive, like the nodes and all the
Mm-hmm.
dragging blocks. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
honestly I'm interested to see how it develops once people really, really get the hang of it, because I'm sure there will be developments that even you guys didn't even intend to see happen.
There's already been a couple like that. I believe the guy who built it, his name is Harry, but the 8 Ball
Yeah,
world. I don't know if
that
you've
that
been
is
there yet.
so good. I love
It
the eight
is,
ball world.
yeah, it is. So it's executed really well. Whoop, excuse me, my chair's about to kill me. It was executed really well, right? Like it plays really well. It feels good, and if you've ever played it in desktop mode, I almost prefer playing it in desktop mode
Yeah,
because like the interface is so nice. It's
it's
beautiful.
the UI of it. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
unfair to play in desktop mode versus people in VR.
It
It's
is.
so
No, dude, it's cheating.
it's yeah, it's cheating almost. But
Mm-hmm.
aside from that, what's some of the like most interesting use cases you've seen for Avatars 3.0 and just Udon in general?
Well, okay, so those are different systems. Avatars 3.0 is different. It's not Udon. But
Just
one
they
of
were
the
introduced
yeah,
around the same time, and so I
yeah,
think they
sort
kind of
of, yeah.
go hand in hand, because they were
Hmm.
both very, very new things that no one knew how to use, and at the same time
Right.
they complained to you still. They were like, Avatars
Oh, of
3.0
course.
is so hard. Why did you make
It
it this hard?
Yeah, there's a lot of directions you could kind of go with this, but yeah, for to answer your question with Udon, the most impressive thing to me specifically was Harry's not the 8 Ball specifically, but the networking involved. Because what he actually did is he built a deterministic physics system. You never actually transmit like the ball is moving from here and the bounce is here. What you do is you trust that everyone knows how to solve the physics problem the same way, and you just apply acceleration against the ball and then let it play out. Someone is trusted as the master, right? Like they're trusted as I am going to be the authoritative master on like what the result is going to be, but he still like made it so it simulates out for everybody. It's really cool. And it's all Udon. Like we did, he built his own networking for it. It's crazy.
It all seems to be so above my head. I wish I understood it, but I see the eight ball happening. I'm like, man, those physics are so good. There's probably and because you go in there and you can see all of it executed on the wall on that
Yeah,
that terminal. So seeing it all in
yeah,
real
it's rad.
time is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the feed for it. It's just it makes me feel like Hacker Man's great. It's like I understand all these things going by.
So when you joined around the Knuckles craze, right? That was kind of the your entry point with VR chat.
Yeah, yeah. I think January 2018 was when I started working for VRChat, but yeah, I've been around for a bit there. Sorry, I'm getting pinged a bunch here. Oh, okay. Nothing I have to worry about at the moment. Anyways, yeah, the Knuckles craze was when I kind of hopped on. I mean, I've been playing VRChat before that. I think I started playing VRChat in like July 2017, I think.
So I know that everyone kind of sees the Knuckles craze as like the big boom for VR chat, but I think comparatively that was nothing to kind of how COVID uh,
Hmm.
spiked it, and especially just over the last year, 2 years, really, just the steady increase that we've seen is kind of insane. So I keep grabbing
Yeah,
these headphones. Need
I
to put
know you
these
got
away.
sticky hands.
Uh,
Um,
the index
you're
controllers.
right. Like even if you just like this isn't like privileged information, you can just look at like the Steam charts for VRChat and you can see the knuckle spike in January 2018. But um you can also observe that there's always a spike during certain times of the year and things like that. And um the pandemic actually was more of a instead of a spike where it was with knuckles where it was like bonk and then you settle somewhere
Yeah.
about halfway up that spike. It was just kind of a growth over a couple of weeks, and we did kind of even out at a much higher number, but it's super sticky. Like we hit that peak and we just stuck. And it was pretty overwhelming, but after a while you just kind of like there were and it still happens, I think. It might still be happening. But every weekend we would watch the numbers and it's like, oh, we broke the record again. Oh, we broke the record again. Oh, we broke the record. Eventually you just stop keeping track.
I,
I mean, that,
I remember being with you on was it New Year's 2019, and we were like, oh, the record broke. But then I remember being in another world with you and it was like, oh, the record broke again. Like it just wasn't even
yeah.
impressive to see it break because it was just increasing. Do you
Hmm.
know kind of as far as concurrent users what you're hovering at about now?
Like actually right now.
Just you
I don't
know
know. We can
ballpark
look.
number.
Oh,
If
apparently I
you
stole
could
your water.
actually Dreams, you could look at the
Oh,
Steam charts.
Steam charts is actually a little bit off. Our bot on our Discord server is the most accurate one, and that one is currently showing like right now 33,700 people and some change
In game.
in game in VRChat.
Oh
Playing VRChat
jeez.
right now.
That is that is a lot. do
It
you
is.
do you know how many worlds there are uploaded to
Um,
the platform?
I don't, and I don't even know if I'd be able. I don't think I'd be able to share that. But I think the last time we did like a press release thing where we named numbers, it was like on the order of like tens, maybe 50,000. I don't know. I'm really hand waving here.
Just a lot. Just
Um,
a lot of
it
worlds. There's a lot
there's a
of user generated content.
yeah,
Is the
there's a ton. Some of it better than others, but that's how it goes.
So
I think I stole your water, by the way. Do you want it back?
I'm good. I'm
Oh, okay.
Do you think that VR has entered the mainstream yet? Like what we would call the mainstream, or do we still have a bit more to go before we really enter the mainstream?
Uh, that is, um, that was a hard question to answer. The Quest 2 is the closest that it's ever gotten.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, as much as people want to, say, oh, Quest 2, you got to do the Facebook login, it's not powerful, that kind of thing. Doesn't matter. Like, my litmus test for tech has always been like my parents, because they're not super into tech, but they picked up a little bit from me. I'd like to say, well, you know how it goes, but they have a Quest 2 now, and they've hopped into VRChat, which was they knew what I did for work and that kind of stuff. But the fact that my parents were able to hop in and do stuff and like figure most of that out on their own and be able to play other VR games, yeah, that worked out pretty well. Like I would say that was like 80% of like mainstream. I don't think we've hit it just yet. The Quest 2 fell a little bit short, probably because it needs a little bit more fidelity. But it's damn close.
Yeah, I love the Quest 2. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I Facebook as a company is a different story, but as far as hardware goes, I think the Oculus Quest 2 is probably the best we've had, just because I can
Oh, it is.
like you
Yeah, it's
said, I
great.
can hand it to anybody and they can pick it up. They can play Beat Saber, they could get on VRChat, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very intuitive. And the fact that I don't need to have two lighthouses in my room set up and
That
everything
is a big deal.
marked out, it's a big deal. Do you think that that lighthouse tracking will kind of fade away into a bit obscurity once in-house tracking gets really good?
So this is actually a point of contention. Me and a couple of my friends and coworkers have. A lot of them think that the inside out tracking of the optical inside out tracking, so like camera based, of like the Oculus Quest, that's eventually going to become the de facto standard because it's so portable. Like it's just there. You don't have to do anything. but um, it doesn't make sense to me. Uh, hold on, I have to give some context to this. So before I worked for the company I told you about before, I was in school and I got a degree in physics, which I am not using at all. Um, and in particular, like one thing that was really important to me and that I grasped really early on was a lot of like in the like freshman early courses. Once you realize that your reference frame is really important with a bunch of things, especially when you start dealing with like like length contraction stuff like that with relativistic speeds. Like frame of reference is super important. Having a static stationary frame of reference is how you solve math problems like that. And like that's what Lighthouse is. Like I've got a stationary frame of reference set up right here. Why should I trust these cameras which are moving around? Like it doesn't make sense to me. I know that the technology is really good and like image processing is super fast, and we've got SoCs that are like lightning quick at doing that kind of math. I still don't trust it. I really hope Lighthouse lives for quite a long time. It's a great standard. It's super open. These new trackers that are coming out look really cool.
Yeah, are
Yeah.
those are those are those an independent company, the new trackers? I just kind of glanced
Um,
over hearing about new trackers, but
I read about them, and so they're called Tundra trackers, and I read about them. I think they have like engineers from the original team that set up the spec for the trackers or lighthouses or something like that.
hmm.
I'm not really quite sure, but they look very promising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that because it seems right now that full body tracking is really just for VR chat. I
Mm,
haven't seen many uses outside of VR chat. Just because that seems to be the only place it's supported. Obviously, those trackers are used for things other than just full body tracking. You can use them to track
hmm
guns and things like that. But as far as having things strap, oh, you have a turn the volume down on that video. But
Oh no, it's the that's the
yeah,
I'm trying
tracker.
to
Yeah.
the
find the
track.
video of the tracker he was talking about.
You just pull up a picture of it.
That's what and then I clicked the picture and it brought me to a video that started playing on it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, the,
Oh yeah. Here, just turn it to that. You can see
Man,
they just look.
they're like
Those are
little
really.
flat little guys.
square
They're
and
pretty
boxy.
compact.
Oh no, these are the Manus ones. So there's actually two.
Oh,
There's the Manus
okay.
trackers, which are like pro grade stuff, and then you have the Tundra trackers, which they aren't enterprise focused. They're end user Tundra trackers. Yeah.
But yeah, just for reference, because I know there are some people watching who
There
don't
you go.
really. They're not. Oh, okay. Let me pull that up. Who don't really use VR. The current yeah, there's a good scale
hmm
as to what the current trackers look like, especially with the battery packs that people put on them, like the track straps or
hmm
just strapping batteries to themselves.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and you kind of honestly lose immersion when you have a bunch of equipment strapped to yourself. So I think that once cameras get really good at detecting where you
Yeah.
are, that'll kind of be the
Well,
standard. I would hope they can get to that point.
for some applications, they would. Like you call out specifically VRChat as like, they're kind of the only one that does it. We're not. Like there's tons of, Neos uses it, Chill Out uses it, Beat Saber add-ons use it. I know there's like Suva and a bunch of Live and a bunch of other VTuber kind of adjacent stuff. There's
Well,
ways to use
I'm
them,
just talking
but
about like use cases because these
mhm.
controllers, these are kind of essential.
Yeah,
But the trackers are just like a fun gimmick right now, almost.
yeah,
I would think. I'm just saying like I don't know, like soccer or DDR, some kind of use
maybe.
case where people would be like, yeah, okay, now I should probably get it. Because right now it's just like, do you want to see your legs in VR? Then you should get
Yeah,
these trackers.
yeah. I think what you're saying is like what's like the mass market
Yeah,
application,
yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. I think they may always be kind of a super engaged user thing, which is fine. Like it's what's like an analog for this? It's like when someone gets really, and I don't know a thing about cars, so I'm gonna get this all like wrong, but like it's like they're really into cars, so they like start getting aftermarket shit, or like they get like a turbocharger or something crazy for their car. I don't know. Meanwhile, I'm just like, cool, my car has 4 wheels. Like I have a Quest 2 car, right?
Yeah.
So it's fine. But I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that. What the mass market application is.
Speaking of mass market application,
Mm.
do you think that VR will ever reach a point where it's like, like how cell phone prices, how if you go to, I mean, they're like in India, they have those like $25 smartphones. They're still smartphones, but they are like $25, and just but comparatively to what smartphones used to be when they started, it's still better. Just because of how
Mhm.
far it's progressed. Do you think there will ever be like VR headsets that are like $50, like anybody can get them?
Oof. I mean, maybe like the entire reason, like these nice cheap. I mean, they're not feature phones anymore. Like that doesn't exist anymore, right? But the idea of like a feature phone smartphone, but a VR headset, that would be you'd be cutting it pretty far down. Like I again, this is personal viewpoint. I don't know any secrets or anything like that. I think that Facebook probably took like they're taking a loss in selling Quest 2. That's the only way I can guess that they're doing it.
Really?
I think so. I mean that hardware is not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean I'd love to know the actual reality, but that's way above my pay grade. So it just doesn't make sense to me how you like get the screen's really high resolution. You got the cameras, you've got controllers, and you've got the what do they have on it? They have the it's that the XR1,
Huh.
which is like a pretty high end chip.
And I know they have OLED displays, right? Do the Quest 2s have OLED displays, or was that just the Quest 1?
I don't know. They're pretty good, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Like they're they are close to the index, which is
Yeah,
kind
that
of my bar for standard.
yeah. That was the thing when I switched from the Vive to the Index. The one thing that bugs me, I still do like my deep blacks. I'm one of those, but
I
um,
I can deal with it, but I understand.
but the as far as the screen door effect goes, I don't really feel
Mhm.
it anymore. It's not
Oh no, that's
anything
gone.
major at all. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still maybe like uh, anti-aliasing. That's about it. It's just when I look at edges, I can see just kind of the spikes of the edges. But once
Mhm.
that gets seamed out, I don't really see any
Mhm.
issue with screens as far as resolution goes.
Yeah. Apparently the what is it? The Reverb G2. That one has an even better screen. I know someone who uses one and they swear by it. At least the headset. The controllers are a different story.
I heard that Valve is stopping making like standalone headsets, and they're going to be working with other developers to make headsets. Um,
I
and
hope not. I love the Index. I want an Index too,
I
like
like
really bad.
I like the Index. It's just
Mm.
these controllers feel a bit rudimentary as far as the hardware. Um,
Um.
just the
Well, they're very Valve, right? Like, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just they're very Valve. They saw a problem and they were like, let's throw this at a wall and see if it sticks. It kind of does. It's cool. I like being able to flip people off or whatever. But I mean, the most fun I've ever had with it was Alex, and we don't really do that much with it here in VRChat, aside from just moving your fingies.
what's funny is I get in Poker Stars VR, and because everyone in there is like a boomer who got a Quest 2 for Christmas or whatever, and then I flip them off. They're like, "How did you do that?" They get like all they're I don't know.
Oh my god, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm,
awesome. It's so
I'm gonna go play
awesome.
Poker Stars after this. I'm
But
gonna go
yeah,
flip
they
off some.
once you flip them off, you tell them like, "Oh, it's a developer feature. You have to unlock it." And they're like, "Do you have the
Yeah,
hand tracking on the Quest yet?" It's like, "Yeah." Oh yeah, the hand tracking on the Quest. How is that coming along?
Mhm.
Do you know anything about the news regarding that? Like
um,
the
I've tried it
standalone?
out. Yeah, I've tried it out. It's pretty decent. It When I first saw it, when I first tried it out, my first immediate thought was like, how the fuck do we like if we wanted to do this, how would we do this? I have no idea. That's a really tough problem. That's something that I imagine a lot of like how do you do Pavlov? How do you do, how do you do what is that one? Population One. Like it's a battle royale. You got tons of controls, right? Like
Yeah.
you got to move around, you got to jump, you got to switch between guns, you got to pick stuff up. How do you do that by just like making finger shapes?
And it also seems like something super hard to implement on a developer standpoint. Like,
Oh, maybe I haven't.
this is analog. It's or it's capacitive, so it's either up
Yeah.
or down and anything in between. But with the hand tracking on the Quest, you can cross your fingers, you can do whatever. So
Mhm.
that's just a whole other ballpark as far as
When
implementation
I
goes.
when I tried it out, it's less hand tracking and more like it maps over finger flex and finger sway. I don't think is the right word, like left right. So it does like curl and it does left right, and it just translates that into a virtual rig. It's not actually like projecting your hand into VR, but it is reading how your hand is positioned and translating that into a hand rig. So that does probably, if that's how it's working, because that's how it felt like it worked, that'd probably make it a little bit easier because then you could just like discreetly detect, okay, they're like, touching their index finger to their thumb, or they're touching, they've got like a finger gun next hand shape or whatever. And you just snap to that. I don't know if it's like actually like full on like vertex mapping or some crazy stuff like that.
Yeah. I've the only thing that I like is still being able to use my hands when they're out of the vision of the
Oh yeah,
cameras. That's the
absolutely.
one thing that I think is not quite in the realm of in-house tracking
Mhm.
yet. So lighthouses are still a bit superior. There you
Yeah,
go. That's your
that is, yeah, that's the short version as well. I mean, I've actually got 3 lighthouses now and a fourth one that's sitting there over there I haven't set up yet. I got them from bullying Pimax until they gave me my fucking lighthouses. Took them 2.5 years.
yeah.
I
I
had
was
the sorry, I had the Vive Cosmos
Mhm.
and I upgraded the faceplate on it, so I actually have base stations now. And using like guns in Pavlov was nearly impossible because if one controller was in front of the other, it would immediately lose tracking. So
Oh
the end
my
of the
god.
gun would just start aiming all over the place, and I had to get the upgrade. So like the inside out tracking for Cosmos is very bad. I've heard it's pretty good for the Oculus, but
The
I've
Oculus
just
is pretty
strayed
good.
away from it. But once
I'm
I switched
surprised.
to base stations, the
Mhm.
accuracy of like my tiny wrist movements became so much more imperative. Like it was almost like 6 times harder of a game because the accuracy had to be actually on point instead of just stuck rigid because the camera knew how to
That's
read it
crazy.
like that.
Yeah, I haven't tried the Cosmos. I know someone who has a Cosmos. They expressed similar like issues with it, like the camera tracking was it's just not good.
he had the with the Cosmos, you know how you can like lift up the headset, but the one
But the
big
Halo,
yeah, the one big oversight though is that it bends the cable every single time that you do that, and so it just ruins the cable.
I've gone through
that's
7 cables in 2 years.
7?
I can't believe you've dealt with that headset for 2 years. That's insane.
Oh my god. I like I've even
Oh
hated how the index has the side, how it comes out the side.
my.
That really bugs me. I really liked how on my original Vive how it came down my back. So I just took off that little clip and then just taped it so that way it's coming down because every time it just kinks right there. It's
Yep.
so bad. I don't know how they overlooked that. Maybe it was their intention to have us buy more cables and it's a
I mean,
razors and blades model where it keeps you coming
mhm.
back, but
Well, that's the thing for the index. You can't actually buy the cable standalone. It's a huge pain in the ass. You have to
yeah.
like get it RMA'd.
And that's what
So
I did. I got my cable RMA'd recently, and it was out of warranty, but they were just like, whatever, just have a new cable here, and then just send
yeah,
it to me.
maybe that's why they're not making any more headsets. They had to replace so much hardware. Which I mean, there were a lot of hardware replacements for the index, which I kind of expected. I mean, it's it's Valve. Like they don't do hardware normally. The only
Yeah.
hardware they did before was like the Steam controller, which also had similar issues. So
And I heard a lot of their like surplus came from China right as the pandemic was just starting up, and like that's why when they tried to ship them out and they couldn't get any out because literally all the parts were made in Wuhan. It was
Oh
like
Oh
God.
Jesus,
destroyed the whole thing.
that explains probably a good bit.
How many controllers have you replaced, if any?
Um, I've only replaced, I think, just one pair because I was getting slight drift on one of the controllers. Like, and it wasn't even really drift; it was just like the dead zone was too big.
Yeah.
Um, and this one's kind of feeling it now on my left. And I've spilled sake on this controller like 8 times. Uh, so and it's I mean it's not particularly dry sake, so it's got plenty of sugar in it, so it dries, and like I'll wake up the next morning bleary eyed and come downstairs like, why is this so crunchy? Oh right, I'm an idiot. So
I
it
feel
keeps
like
living though.
I feel like I am the only person on planet Earth that liked the Vive wands, the big clunky Vive wands.
No, there's a couple people who swear by them. In particular, there's someone on Twitter and on YouTube. They do like kind of cute little clip things called Yogurt Cap, and they have full body tracking, and they do like these little wiggle videos and funny little meme videos, stuff like that. But
Are they the one with
they
the
got it.
booth model, like the Miche booth model or whatever? And they do the.
No,
I know
that's
there's one who. Do you know who I'm talking? They did the like Hard Knock Life
Oh,
video.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but he's really into Assetto Corsa. He's fucking funny. I love him.
Yeah, his videos are pretty good.
Yeah. Every time he puts a video up, I have like new tweet notifications on for him. They're just great.
I wish I could find it. The one where he's like in the Honda and he's like VTech, just kicked it.
Yeah, yeah. If you go to his Twitter, like he retweets his old ones all the time. It's because he's like, man, this was good. I should show everybody again. And I'm like, that's such a good point of view. And it's like, yeah, it was great. Retweet that shit. Retweet your own tweet. Big brain. But him and the Yogurt Cat person, Yogurt Cat loves their Vive wands. They got an index, and they ended up sending it back because they were like, these controllers, I hate them so much. And it's more of they're just used to how the Vive wands work, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they're used to being able to get, like, I know exactly when I'm doing a gesture, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I miss is pushing up and knowing that no matter what, as long as I am pushing up, I will be doing point. I feel like, especially with the index, my hands are small, and I've noticed sometimes when I do like a fist, it won't detect the pinky because my pinky sits up higher where the sensor should be. So like I'm pushing just my pinky down right now, but it's. Ugh.
It's tough. Yeah, like the pinky and ring finger detection, I think, is the hardest part to do about all of it. I don't know, maybe I've just got like used to it because to me
The
this
problem
feels
with
seamless.
the Vive wands for me in shooter games is like trying to play Call of Duty with laptop touchpads on your thumbs. It is so
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
horrible. Have you ever tried to play a shooter game with just a laptop touchpad? It's a nightmare. Try two of them on your thumbs.
Don't they have like things that you can put on the wands though to like make them kind of more into
I
like
think,
joypad
They
or
have
like
they have
the
these
joysticks?
little
joysticks are
yeah,
amazing.
they had the little springy thing. It was like a 3D printed little spring that you could move around, and it had the capacitive touch on it, so it actually would actually act like that. It looks so jank though. I remember seeing those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that VR will ever be replaced by full dive?
I think we got a while to go, man. That's BCI is scary. Not read BCI, and to be specific, brain computer interface. Reading from the brain, not spooky. That's pretty easy. We saw Elon doing it. To
Yeah.
the cute little pigs, and it's like, oh, they make little beep noises when they do certain things. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What's spooky is writing to the brain. That's how like how like we're gonna kill people when we
Yeah.
start doing it. I'm not sure how we're gonna do that. I would be love to be proven wrong. I don't know shit about anything in this regard, but um, that's the part where I get kind of scared. Maybe one day. I think we probably will kind of live through before we get to the SAO, we'll go through the Ready Player One kind of thing.
Yeah.
If we go with the pop culture analogs, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying, have you ever seen this comic where it's like a guy saying, oh, I'm going to wait to try VR until like it has X or it's too expensive or something like that. And it gets all the way to the end and like they finally have full dive, full body VR and everything. And he's sitting there as a ghost dead. And he's like, man, that looks fun. So we might have full dive at some point. It doesn't really matter that much to me.
Would you participate in it if in our lifetime? I mean, I don't think in our lifetime it's going to happen just because of how complex the brain is and how much like
I don't know, man.
studying we have to. I mean, with the acceleration of technology, it's definitely possible, but I mean, we never know. I mean, I know back when cars were not a thing, people thought that the future was going to be carriages that were pushed forward by like robotic horses. That was like the sci-fi idea, was robotic horses, not like cars, which to me is bizarre, but looking back on it, it's like I guarantee you there's going to be something. Yeah, it's what you know. So in the future there's going to be something that we can't even conceive. But right now, we just have to go off of what we know. I saw a thing recently. I don't know if you could look this up, Dreams. How they are learning to grow any kind of cell within a leaf. Like they could grow like meat cells or like stem cells on plants. And so then we just have plants where you could just take the leaves and then it would just be full of stem cells or whatever. Which to me is insane. Like that's something I could have never even conceived in a even in a sci-fi novel, but it's reality.
As far as I know about like biology and shit like that, isn't it just like as soon as you get like a stem cell of whatever and you can reprogram it, then it's just kind of the reins are off, do what you want. I don't know. Biology was never my strong suit, but that would be cool. Like lab, I mean, is that more like lab grown meat or is this like literally growing a burger out of a tree?
That's my understanding, is they just have like they have plants that will just grow those cells in their leaves, or they can just use like leaves to like the empty husks of leaves to grow them. I didn't read too much into it, but I saw some snippets and I was like, oh,
I'm getting a lot of pictures on how to grow plants. Not how to grow ears on plants.
Well, yeah, you ever lose an arm, just go plant a tree. You'll get an arm back in a couple months.
Have you seen all the like 3D printed organs that they're doing?
Yeah.
I wonder what the limit of that is. Where the organ is like, okay, maybe we shouldn't, fuck with this one. Maybe this is too much, too far down the line. Like I know the brain is kind of the obvious one, but if like there's
the obvious one.
Oh, here got a picture for us, Streams. I don't know, is that real?
I love that picture.
That is freaky. I know there was like a 3D printed liver. Like if you look up a 3D printed liver.
Oh yeah. Isn't a liver like fairly mechanically simple?
Yeah, so, they can. I'm pretty sure it's the liver where you can take most of it, like 80% of it, and then put it in someone else, and then you'll just grow a new liver, like from the rest of what's there. So it's very very simple.
Yeah, it's less of a complex organ than just like a giant it's like an oil filter. You just plug it in and it's just there. It's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
That's probably like the easy one because I think I read the same thing. It's like the easiest one. Brain is kind of the easy choice to say, no, you can't do a brain. Yeah, of course. Let me think. Like lungs are probably pretty tough because that's a lot of delicate structure.
Yeah.
You probably have to do some crazy shit to like keep it while you're halfway through, like to keep it inflated. Maybe you'd have to print it inside of like a liquid or something.
I don't even know. Are deflated lung, like is it the second that your lungs deflate, you just like it just stops? Because I think you can deflate lungs like safely or something.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I mean, I've seen there's like that image or gif or whatever of like the lungs being like blown up. I think it's like, some dissected animal and they literally like hook a air tube up to it and it goes like that. It is kind of gross, so I wouldn't show it off, but it's still cool because when like they're not inflated, they're flat. They're just like little just pieces of flesh on the table, and then you blow them up and it's literally like a balloon. So they get big and they get small.
Oh, this is totally unrelated, but did you see that ferret that they cloned? The ferret that had been like,
What?
dead. Yeah, it was like dead for 30 years, and they cloned it.
Oh, I read about this. I didn't look into it. I saw it like scrolling past something about like how they had an endangered species and they brought
Yeah,
it back.
yeah. God, I want a woolly mammoth. I want to see woolly mammoths. I know that they died out because of like because their hordes got like separated, and then they had a bunch of inbreeding problems. So it was like genetic issues
that
that
what
like killed
happened?
off. Yeah.
Oh.
But here,
Oh, look
turn
at that
that
cute
on.
little. Look at him,
look at that guy.
cute little baby.
Is that the cloned ferret, or is that the ferret 30 years ago? Can you read that description there? I don't know if I can read it.
Uh,
I think.
oh,
That's
you're muted.
Yeah, Elizabeth Ann is the first U.S. endangered species to be cloned in North America, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Oh,
Yeah.
so this is the first U.S. one?
That's-
Because I know there was Dolly the sheep a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
God, that
I
was.
think that's a different. I think that's a. That was like a special type of cloning, like that they hadn't been able to do yet. I remember that. I was. God, how old was I? I think I was a little baby, like 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah, the sheep thing. Yeah, that was long ago. But
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they could bring the dodo back. That would be cool. I know they're useless. They don't really do anything. They just kind of
Oh yeah.
sit there, but
Yeah. At what point do you decide to say, "Yeah, fuck you, evolution. You were wrong. We're gonna bring this one back." Like, maybe it's doing something right.
Well, you know,
But
pandas are like useless in nature. And the only reason we
Mhm.
save them is just because they're so cute. So,
Mhm.
and China actually does negotiations with pandas. Did you know that? They will actually
What?
they will do trade negotiations with pandas and give them to zoos as part of trade. Yeah,
Is that why you always see like this happened a lot in DC at the DC Zoo? They would always have like pandas, and it's like on loan from Shenyang Zoo,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
something like that.
That's what it is. Is they'll
Oh
loan
wow.
people pandas or give them to them.
I don't actually know if Shenyang Zoo is a real thing. I don't know what
Just
I just said.
you may have said something incredibly offensive. Remember, nothing we say on here is reflective of any company or organization that we may represent.
I thought, I was like, yeah, that was the name of the zoo, and then I was like, no, I think you just made up a word, and I was like, oh great, cool. Hope it wasn't something bad. But yeah, no, they had those. They had two pandas when I was there, and they were on loan from some zoo in China, which makes sense in DC.
Yeah.
It's the DC Zoo.
To get back to VR and away from ferrets and pandas,
Oh, what a shame.
do you think that there will ever be a point where like virtual economies can be merged with real economies?
That's
Kind of an out there question, but
no, it's not out there. There's I've had a lot of discussion and reading and stuff lately on various virtual like economy stuff because of the NFT thing. Like everyone's going friggin' bonkers over NFTs and like crypto art and stuff like that. I have very strong opinions on that. But that aside, I think some people go a little bit too far with it, like the idea of, oh well, you could have digital assets and there's this proof of ownership and blah 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 blah, and it's like that doesn't. My mindset is that doesn't do anything. That doesn't go. Like the fact that you own something when the thing that you could own. Did I just throw something? I don't know. I didn't. The fact that you can own something when that thing can just be Control C, Control V. Who cares? Like
yeah,
it actually it doesn't matter that much. There are some cases in which it does. I mean, obviously, but like when you make a movie or something. But like if it's just, I don't know. I haven't really thought this out very well. Anyways, the original question, probably there will be some merging of that kind of like economy in some way, shape, or form. crypto is probably the most like realistic pathway that we have to it, but it has some very significant like hurdles to get over first.
Are
Like
you into
for example,
crypto at all, or decentralized finance? Any of it?
not not really. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin like a while ago, and I left it in a wallet, and it's now worth like 10 times more, but it's not that much in the first place. So
$10
it's
to $100. Yes.
yeah. I mean, I think I put like $100 in like my Gemini wallet, and I just haven't touched it, and it's turned into like $1,000. I'm like, cool. If I decide to go on like vacation, that's nice little. I forgot about this money kind of nest
Yeah.
egg. But
Dreams,
that's the most.
what's Bitcoin at right now? I think it's at like 48. Like 48 or 49, if you could look that
I thought
up.
it went over 50.
It did. It actually went up near 60 momentarily, but it's back down. I've been watching it the past couple days.
Bet you a
Like
bunch of people.
I put a
Bet
bit
you there were
more
a bunch of sells at 60.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what happened.
I mean that's the thing is you always have the bubble, but the thing, have you ever seen the so pull up the Bitcoin price and then pull up the Bitcoin rainbow chart, Dreams.
Rainbow chart.
Yeah, yeah, this is super cool. Okay, so you're gonna have to translate that to real currency. That's funny
Yeah.
money to me.
Can I get freedom dollars, please? Can I get a? Actually, I like Canadian bills better.
Yeah,
they're all
aren't they like
colorful.
waterproof and burn proof? I think I have
much
one.
better
I
than
should go try that. Go try burning it and see what happens.
They're better than our
Okay,
shitty
yeah, there's the
paper one.
rainbow chart. So basically,
Oh.
this is the price over time, and it tells you like when you should sell, when you should buy. But really, it just shows that it's going to keep just compounding over time with like where it's at right now.
Yeah, but where'd they get this curve from?
The curve, just like
Yeah, so the actual curve of the rainbow chart, because this looks like it's going to stabilize somewhere. And oh god, it's on a log scale. No, that's a joke.
it works. I mean, it fits in there. The thing is it? I think the reason it works is because Bitcoin usually has a huge rally. You can notice they have a huge rally right after every split or whatever it's called, the blockchain halving, the halving. Yeah, every halving there's a huge rally, and right now we're in the rally point. I don't think we've hit the peak of the rally yet, but once we do hit the peak, you just keep holding. That's the whole idea with everyone, is just buy and hold forever with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Judging by this pattern, yeah, I'd agree. It looks like it's probably going to hit another peak in like a couple more months and then fall back down.
I remember watching I think Dream showed me this interview, but it was a crypto expert, and they had him on CNBC, and they were like, "Oh, don't you think it's too high right now? Don't you think the price is too high? Like, it's kind of insane." And he was like, "You had this exact same interview with me like 5 years ago, and you were like, isn't it insane that it's at like $1,000?" So it's like just take a look at what's happened before and see if maybe this trend will continue. I think decentralized finance is a good thing, especially because, I mean, the value of the U.S. dollar has decreased 99% since its inception. The inflation has just killed it. I mean, there used to be a time where you could go into a grocery store with $20 and get a whole thing full of groceries. You could get a whole basket full, but now $20 will get you what, like 2 boxes of Oreos?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're just replacing the devil with some mystical blockchain verified devil.
I think the limited the fact that there's a market cap, there's only so many is what's going to prevent that, some kind of major inflation, because they have artificial inflation. That's what the halving does, is the artificial inflation.
Right. My concern with that is a combination of things, and it is very high level, so I'm probably missing some details that make this.
Oh, we all are. Crypto's so insane.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to comprehend some of the you throw the word blockchain into anything, someone will buy anything.
Yeah. No, I am aware. There's been I've read about many meme companies that do that, but my concern is the move from proof of work, which is that's how you gain crypto in most forms right now, to proof of stake, plus the fact that there is a market cap, and so you now have multiple incentives to hoard currency. So that now says to me, it's like, wait, this was meant to be like, probably not the main goal of Bitcoin and other crypto, but to get, money and the management of money back into the hands of the people. And now it's like, well, now you're incentivizing someone building up a giant giant pile.
Hey.
Yeah. What do you got under there? Just a bunch of crypto.
Yeah.
But
I would hope
yeah,
so.
yeah. One day, what is it? Doge was the meme one.
Oh
yeah.
God.
But I just don't. I don't know. I'm probably not educated on it. There's probably some mechanic or something in place that prevents this from happening. A lot of the problems we have right now are because of people hoarding value, hoarding currency, hoarding stuff. And if we are now incentivizing in, crypto with proof of stake, you get more money the more money you have. It's like, does no one else see the problem here? This feels weird. This feels wrong. But I don't know. That's the most I know.
Speaking of crazy rallies, what's GameStop at? What's it at after hours?
Well,
I think I think it ended at 100 or around 100. I'm surprised that they did it twice. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect. I thought it was just going to disappear. It's GME, not GMC.
Yeah.
Yeah. 101.74.
101.74. Oh, no. That's what it ended at. So look at after hours. What's the very last number? So if you look at the gray line, no, just like on that chart, look at the gray line, see what it ended at. What's that say?
108.73.
Okay, 108. So a little bit higher than what it ended at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know AMC's up too, or at least I think it was. All of the just meme. It's so funny because
meme economy.
It's gotten to the point where if a stock has a funny ticker, people buy it. Like Naked went up. What was it, like 1,000%? Just because people were like, it's a funny ticker.
Well, yeah, because everyone realized that like this whole stock market thing is just a fucking joke.
Yeah.
So let's mess around with it. And when you have enough people, on the same subreddit, then yeah, you can just do stuff like that, I guess.
You know what's having its IPO recently, or is going to have its IPO soon, is Roblox. They're gonna be they're gonna be going public. I'm tempted to put some money into Roblox. I do believe in Roblox as a company. They've had some really good gains over the pandemic. I think they saw like a 180% increase in player count, which is insane.
Not surprising.
Really, any gaming industry has seen a good jump through COVID, which is good. I think the presence online is a good thing. But I will say that I feel bad, like my little brother will probably never get to experience a snow day again just because of virtual learning.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, snow. All right, well, get on Canvas or whatever. Get on your Google Classroom and figure it out.
I feel like I just barely dodged like all of this. Like I never had any of these. Like you probably had smart boards and shit. Considering, yeah, that would have been it. I didn't even have smart boards. Like I was the last class before they started installing smart boards and everything in high school. And then like distance learning, that kind of stuff was never a thing. Like we did, like obviously snow days were a thing. Actually not that much in South Carolina. So you didn't get many snow days there.
I think during the like real beginning.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I think early on our school didn't have any smart boards just because of Deep South where I live, and kind of they still had the the big projectors, the thing where you put the paper under the projector.
Oh, the overhead.
Yeah, those things.
Oh, I love the overheads. We still use those. So I went to college a couple of years after I graduated high school, like 5 years later. They were still using overheads in 2013. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
Hey, some technologies don't fall out of fashion. They're just
no,
good.
It works great.
Like
get one of them markers and you just go at it.
I'll probably bring this up every podcast, but vinyl. I have a huge vinyl collection. I refuse to say that vinyl isn't fun to have. I think analog is really cool.
I don't think anyone would argue with that. I don't think
I know a few people that have argued with me about it.
About vinyl's not fun?
Yeah.
How do you?
They're
It's
the
like,
type of people who go on and pirate music and then download 6 terabytes onto their desktop, and that's how
is
they
this the
listen to
kind of
music.
person that posts "fun is a buzzword" on a Mongolian basket weaving forum? Yeah,
Oh
that's
gosh,
I remember that one distinctly.
jeez. Oh hey, what's going on with the Mars rover?
Oh yeah,
Because
Perseverance just landed.
all I know is that it's there to like look for past signs of life. I think that's
Yeah,
my understanding of it.
so Perseverance just landed. And I keep space is like one of my that's like my shit. I keep track of all this stuff. I probably got that from my dad, who's also very much in all this cool space shit. But Perseverance just landed. It is the latest big dick rover. I think is the best way to put it because it is large. It's like Jeep Wrangler sized. Um,
Oh god.
and they landed that via the sky crane maneuver, which never isn't cool. They have the a giant like I guess trellis scaffold kind of rocket thing that comes
Can you
down and
pull
it
up a
hovers in
video
place.
of it landing?
Yeah, no,
I think
they have
Tupper
a
had it
full
on his
video.
Twitter. If you want to look.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
bad shit.
but I don't understand how, because you look at it and it's the sky crane and then it just like shoots back up into space.
It
It
doesn't shoot back up into space. So the rover drops down from it like this, and it releases it from the cables and shit, and then you can see it once you pull it up in the video. But it flies off to the side and it just crashes into the
oh
terrain, like
okay,
a
because it
couple
looked like
kilometers.
it went back up. I was like, what the
Yeah,
heck?
yeah. Oh yeah, here you go. There's the heat shield dropping out. Um, it's yeah. This is I think
Do you
this
think
point 30 or
do you
40
think this will
kilometers up.
be the last like major rover that we put on before human development, or is that still quite a
No,
bit
I
along?
think we got. I think we got a bit more to go. Yeah, here we go. There's the sky crane right there. Like, top left camera is the rover looking up, and the bottom left is the sky crane looking down.
Are
And
those
this is like,
seriously the size of like a Jeep Wrangler? I always
yeah.
thought that rovers were like, like just
Oh,
giant RC
see you
cars.
later.
Yeah, there it goes.
Um,
What the
that
heck?
yeah. The fact that they had video, like, I mean, this is like full probably 30 FPS video that they recorded on Mars and then sent up to I forget what their current orbiter is, and then they sent it back here is batshit. Like that's insane. Because the next best one that we had was interpolated footage from Curiosity landing in like 2013,
Huh.
and we didn't. I mean, you've got it's just crazy detailed. It was so detailed actually that one of the hazard cams that they take pictures out of for like navigation. I think I also retweeted that, but there was a picture of one of the hazard cams where you can see a plume of smoke in the distance, and it's not smoke, it's hydrazine, and it's from the sky crane that crashed off to the side.
Huh.
So like they just happened to catch that.
That's so
So
cool.
it's so like you never think about like, yes, I am watching video on another planet, like from another planet. This is from
Yeah.
another planet, and you just keep saying that in your head, and you're like, this is from this is from like you just kind of keep realizing over and over in your mind that yes, this was not recorded on Earth. Like this is from a different planet, which is such a wild and crazy thing to me.
I love that there are people who think that the SpaceX footage is faked because it cuts out right as it starts landing, but it's like, do you not realize the radiation is so intense on those
Yeah,
cameras that it's going to cut out? Like, you can look at the footage afterwards from the camera far away,
mm.
but the one right there is going to cut out. That's just how it is. But there's still people who think that.
Well, what's crazy? It's not even radiation. I mean, it is radiation, but it's specifically the plasma formed by like the exhaust of the landing jets produces so much like I guess radio interference that it just drowns out everything around it. There's stuff moving so fast it just starts emitting that. I
Huh.
think that's the case for that. That's what I heard last time that I read about it. It also could be potentially that when you've got this barge floating here and there's a rocket landing on it, shit's getting pushed around all the time. So maybe that's it.
I can't
Maybe the plasma's reentry. I don't remember.
I can't wait to get pictures on more planets. Like, you remember the well, I mean, you don't remember is in the 70s, but the picture that was taken on Venus for like a couple seconds,
Ah,
they were able to get that picture.
yep, those are the Venera space probes, and that's from Russia. They had a couple of them, I think.
Yeah, they had
They had
like
like,
I think there were like 20. There were a lot that they tried to send.
but they only lasted like 90 minutes because they literally like components started fucking melting
Yeah,
because it's so hot.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, that
Oh yeah.
picture. Oh, that is eerie. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a planet of death. That no, that's not the real one.
Well,
That's
that
not the
one.
real one. The one under
Uh,
that, directly under that one. No, to the
no.
left. Yeah, that's it. That's the real one.
Yeah, that looks like a pano from it. If you look at if you search for Venera, Venera, Venus, that'll be the actual probe. Venera, and then Venus maybe.
Yeah, it just looks.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. There's a couple of them.
Yeah, so that third picture there, the one with like it looks like little teeth, that is it's a stationary platform that landed. And I mean it's Russian, right? So it's not gonna break. They're hardy as shit. Their space stuff they make is like super hardy. But they landed a couple of these probes on Venus and managed to get like 90 minutes out of them. They even have microphones on them actually, and they transmitted back audio data.
I've heard that Russia's trying to do another one that'll last 24 hours. I think that's the goal is a
Yeah.
24-hour probe.
So there was a paper that came out recently within the last year or so that they detected what's the word for it? The Star Trek term would be like biosigns, but basically like traces of elements and molecules in Venus's atmosphere that would make no sense to exist there unless there was life like producing it.
What?
So, yeah,
On
and I think
Venus.
yeah, on Venus. And I think a bunch of different countries are like scrambling programs to go and check it out because like that's like it's significant enough to the point where they're like, okay, this is either something's really wrong or there's actually something living here. Um, so
I know
which is
there's some theories that life could exist within like the heart of stars, just like life instantaneously coming and going, like some kind of
oh, you're thinking about what are these called? Something brains, Boltzmann brains, sort of.
yeah,
Not really. It's not the same concept. Boltzmann brain is. Sorry, I'm gonna get a little
geeky.
esoteric with this. Yeah, I read about this the other day, and it's a fucking cool idea. Okay, imagine with me for a moment the idea of an infinite universe that after the heat death of the universe, it just goes on forever and ever. But you've got like virtual particles that form just randomly and deform. Like they just kind of pop into existence, they pop back out a moment later. It's kind of like noise. It's like white noise, but it's the universe. There is a non-zero probability that a brain that is perfectly conscious and has the ability to like process thought pops into the universe, starts existing for basically a frame, has one thought, and then ceases existing. That's a Boltzmann brain.
And
And
isn't it that they like they'll pop in and then they have like just enough time to reproduce and then they go out and that's how they keep their
oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about
that
the one
was
in
what
the
I read
star.
about the life within stars. I don't know if you could
I
look
mean,
that
maybe
one
that's
up,
like
Dreams.
yeah, that's
Life
like
within star. I just look up like a life living within stars, like life
I
at
mean
heart of
that
stars or something.
I mean, I guess I kind of get where the idea would come from. Like compressed matter is crazy. Like and the stuff at the center of a star is hyper compressed. So maybe if like stuff gets arranged into just the right position, could there be a form of life inside stars? Maybe that's it.
You look at
I don't know what site this is.
phys-
Phys.org. Oh, okay. Yeah, this might actually be like a summary of a paper or something like that. But it might be a similar concept where like the conditions are so crazy and compressed and chaotic that something could just, you know, probability in mind, it could just appear and then disappear.
if you
So
could if there was if right now,
Mhm.
you could go on a trip to Mars or any other planet, just like no, there's not a chance of you surviving. Like you could die, whatever. But there,
Yeah.
you get to go to Mars. Abandon
Yeah.
everything you have right now. Would you do that?
Um, a couple of years ago, I would have been like, "Yep, let's go." Now I've
But
got
now I have
like,
a family and
well, I mean, unironically, like, I mean, I've got my girlfriend who I've been, with for like 5 years almost at this point, and like, I've got like a job I really like, and I'm doing cool shit that's helping lots of people. I don't know. Feels selfish if I did that. Um, but I mean, if I was being selfish, hell yeah, instantly. So, but I don't want to be. So
I
I'll
just
just
I just really
I'll
hope at the very least that there's like the suborbital planes that you can get on and they'll just
mm,
go up and take you and you can see space. I just want to see space just once in my life.
That's
That's
what I always do when I get on like airliners, dude. Like I'll get in and we climb up 32,000, or hopefully maybe a little bit higher. Like if we take a different, like we were going north south instead, and you go a little bit higher, and then you look up, like you just shove your face up against the window and you try and look up as best you can. The sky's like really dark blue.
yeah.
That's because most of the atmosphere is below you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of in space. I mean, not really, but that's what I always end up doing every time I'm in an airliner.
What do
It's
you
the
think
closest I'll
about
probably get.
what do you think about Starlink?
I bought one, or I reserved
What?
one. Yeah,
Ah, can I
I
do that
reserved one.
right now?
Maybe. I sent an email that was like, I think there's like two wait lists, right? Like there's the wait list to say I want to reserve one. So there's a reservation, and then there's the reservation. So I paid $100 to make a reservation, which means
Okay.
that at some point in the next couple months, I'll get to spend another 500 for the actual antenna. I think it's probably one of the most important things that
What happened to
Star. Oh,
Dreams?
I did.
Let me invite him here.
VRChat just crashed.
Oh,
Oh man,
rest in
It's fine.
peace.
I'm back though.
I got
Oh,
you.
okay.
Don't worry.
I think it's super important, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's, I mean, we can hook up a bunch of hook up a bunch of people who don't have access to internet or who have shitty internet to the internet. That's crazy. Imagine if like we gave, you know, everybody in India access via Starlink. Because right now, India, large parts of it just don't have connectivity. Or everybody in China. Actually, that would. Uh,
China's pretty well connected. I think it's just
it would be, but the problem there is the firewall. That would be the
yeah.
real thing. They're probably gonna I'm pretty sure Russia's already outlawed Starlink, like
What?
as best
Oh,
they can, because it hops over their network.
yeah.
So
I'm tired of DSL, man. I want they won't even put fiber where I'm at. It doesn't make sense. Fiber
I'm still in
fiber
coax.
costs where it's available it costs like $1,000 a month where I am, which is
Oh
ridiculous.
Jesus.
But I've been thinking of doing that thing where you put it in and then
Mm-hmm.
you ping it to your house, with the
Like
satellites.
a
Just
microwave
yeah,
link.
just share it between a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
people. That way 1,000 doesn't seem so bad. But God,
Yeah, you
fiber.
become a mini ISP. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, Starlink. I mean, anything's better than DSL, honestly.
Yeah,
So Starlink would probably be better. I'll have to sign up for that.
yeah. Starlink is, I think, probably like I want us to go to Mars, and I want Starship to, to succeed, and I want, that no one else is gonna do it, so Elon might as well do it. But Starlink, I think, is the closest game changer he's got, right? Like Mars is gonna take a bit. Starlink, he's pretty close already. So
Now I'm gonna make you use your physics degree for a second. I want to talk about the double
mm,
slit experiment. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
I it does not make any sense to me. Um,
it's a good one. It
I'll mute that. Just
Oh, we gonna Oh, I know this video.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, yep, it's Dr. Quantum. I remember this video.
But yeah, so the
Do you want me to walk through this while he's doing the
just
thing? Okay.
yeah.
So basically, what he's showing now is that if you have a wave that passes through a slit and you look at the interference pattern of that wave on a flat plane at some distance away from there, you see a single bar of interference because it's not interfering with anything. It's just basically the intensity of the wave as it hits your plane. Yes, exactly right up there. But things change when you have two slits because waves interfere with each other. They have constructive and destructive interference. Basically, if a peak touches a peak, it gets twice as high. If a divot hits a divot, then it's lower. So you expect to get this series of you expect to, and you do get this series of kind of like bars. It gets weaker as you go out because the waves are weaker at that distance. That's what happens with waves, and he's talking about particles now. If you shoot particles through, you would expect it to do you're throwing balls through slits in a wall, right?
Exactly.
It's gonna hit exactly where you throw it through. The problem is when you talk about particles that are small enough, which is what he's doing here, he's shrinking it down at the quantum scale. So if you take, for example, something like an electron, teeny tiny, God, I remember this video so well. You start shooting electrons through. So if you do a single slit, you're going to get an interference pattern that looks as you expect. Or rather, not an interference pattern. You're going to get you're shooting stuff through and it hits the wall. Problem happens is when you shoot these particles through two slits, you now get the wave interference pattern, which makes no sense. These are particles. These aren't waves. See, they're little balls. They shoot through. And then when you go through, magically, they interfere. Like they're acting like a wave. And that's what's confusing. Like, why are they doing this?
And then when they observe them, like the whole that's what blows my mind is the observation factor.
Yeah, when you look at it, you are now collapsing the probability of these things you're forcing them to do a different thing. Because now you've basically, it's literally that whole joke of was this from Futurama or something like that, where it's like you change the outcome by observing it. That was Futurama. That was literally that is a double slit experiment kind of joke. I forget exactly what the phenomena is called, where it's direct observation changes the outcome, but it kind of makes sense in my mind. The way I think about it is that if you're looking at something, if you're looking at a wall, you're seeing the light bouncing off the wall, right? And you're observing. Your observation isn't of the wall. Your observation is of the light bouncing off of the wall. But the problem is that light has impacted that wall. That light has done something to that wall. It's basically nothing, right? But it is something. But when you get really small, when you're talking about electrons, it's really hard to observe something as small as an electron without doing something to that electron. You can't just bounce
forcing it into a path.
Exactly. So electrons, you can do photons and electrons. You can do this with pretty much any sufficiently small particle. But when you observe it, you have to do something that at that scale is huge. In order for us to observe a single electron, we basically can't. But in order to do so, we have to basically reach in and touch it, because we have to hit it with another electron, or we have to watch how it affects a proton that's nearby and watch it wobble or something like that. And when we do that, because those other things that we're doing to observe its existence are so big, you're gonna change how the electron or the light or the photon or whatever works. That's how I always kind of rationalize it to myself. There's probably something conceptually where my idea breaks down.
Have you ever heard of the fact that animals of certain types are able to change the outcome of this experiment, like dolphins, monkeys, and cats and dogs? But other animals,
if they're the ones to observe it?
Yes, if certain types of animals are observing this experiment, it will change the outcome of the double slit.
I've never heard of that.
What?
That sounds crazy, though.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
I have to fact check that. You have to show me something on that. That's insane.
Yeah,
But
gonna need a
honestly,
paper.
it doesn't sound too far-fetched because, I mean,
Hmm.
the fact that quantum computers can work and then that you don't know what they're
Yeah,
actually doing and because you can't look inside them because once you look inside them, they stop working. It doesn't make sense.
yeah. I,
That's
I don't know much about quantum computers. I just know that they're effectively magic for a lot of things.
Yeah,
Like,
the whole idea of superposition is what is insane to me. Like how you can have a particle doing the same thing as another particle and it can be galaxies
hmm
away. It doesn't matter. They're tied to each
hmm
other. So, like
oh,
what
entanglement. Yeah,
Yeah, or entanglement. Yeah,
entanglement.
quantum entanglement.
Entanglement's so weird though. Like, it's not necessarily like a lot of people kind of big it up, but really what it is you're putting like you're putting like you're taking a piece of paper, you're writing like the same number on both of them, but you're not looking at it while you're writing it. So that's kind of weird. This analogy kind of falls apart. Basically, you have two briefcases. You pull them apart. You've never looked at what's inside the briefcases, and you open them up and like they match or they don't match, and it's like, well, yeah,
Just
that's kind of
Schrodinger's.
well, yeah. It's when you blow it up to a certain scale, it becomes intuitive, but it's like you're smashing out all the detail out of it. So that one I never really quite grokked. Double Slit I did because the professor I had did a really good job of explaining it. But entanglement was always kind of weird to me. I don't know. Once I got to quantum in school, because you take two classes worth, like quantum 1 and 2, but it's undergrad. Um, you have to ignore it ever representing reality. You just do the math. Like you ignore the fact that this could ever represent like a real thing. Just put the letters in the numbers.
I just wonder if we can use that for communication in the future, like instantaneous communication across
Like the
galaxies or whatever.
what's the word for that they use in like Ender's Game and a bunch of other things? There's like a word for it that they always use in like all different sci-fi books and stuff. I don't remember. But this, yeah, most objects that enable like instantaneous communication across anything in sci-fi, they always say it's like, oh yeah, it's quantum entanglement. And they don't really like tell
Yeah,
you exactly. Right. They're just
like
like,
the
yeah,
hacker speak,
yeah,
obtaining
yeah.
IP address and
They
uh
just technobabble it. It's like
yeah.
it's Star Trek. They just Geordi says something, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, man, that sounds great.
I could never get into Star Trek. I remember asking someone about Star Trek and they gave me this like 6 page long sheet of every episode that you should watch and shouldn't watch and which ones matter and which ones don't and
That might have been me. Um, yeah, I like Star Trek a lot, man. It's great. That's another thing I got from my dad. He's always liked Star Trek, but I've seen that chart. It's like one of those TV charts where it's like, skip these episodes, watch these episodes, and it's like, no, just watch the whole thing. Don't be a baby. You'll be fine.
I was always into Doctor Who. That was my show.
Mm,
I liked that one. I mean, it's. I mean, you watch Star Trek, you know about cheesiness, but it is really
Doctor Who turns
cheesy
it up
and
a bit. They do turn it up a bit. I mean, didn't they have like fart monsters in one of the new episodes with yeah, it was like Eccleston. It was the Ninth Doctor, the green guys.
oh,
Yeah,
from the planet Raxacoricofallapatorius. Yeah,
you said it, not me, man.
I remember. Wait, oh God, those
Yeah,
were. I
but
think
they were like
the
fart monsters, weren't they? Like the reason that they got like outed is because they had to take off their human suits, or else they would suffocate or something.
I can't
I don't know.
remember. I just know they were disgusting, just big, disgusting green things.
hmm
I liked the Weeping Angels. Those were a cool concept.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when that came out, and everyone was like, because I also got onto like Doctor Who probably around like early Tenant, like first maybe his first season.
Yeah, that's when I kind of hopped on, but I watched the ninth one just to kind of catch
Mhm.
up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of had to, otherwise the entire Rose storyline is like, what the fuck is going on, man? Who is this? But yeah, I think Tenet had some of the best episodes for me.
Yeah, I
In
stopped
particular,
after Matt Smith.
yeah, me too. I think I probably would have liked what was his name,
Peter
Peter.
Capaldi. I
Yeah,
watched like one or two episodes, but I was just like, I'm too exhausted to keep watching a show like
Yeah.
this. I can't keep up with, like, oh, what's that one show? Grey's Anatomy. That's been on for how many years? It's like I don't know
Jesus.
how people could even be into that show. Like you had to have started from the
Yeah.
beginning, I assume. And
It's like the Naruto of American TV. No thanks.
yeah,
Just keeps going.
yeah.
Or Dragon Ball, I guess.
I love how people say like, "Oh, you haven't watched Naruto or Dragon Ball?" It's like, of course I haven't. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time
Or
to catch up with that.
I've had people telling me to like read One Piece, and
Oh
I'm like, yeah,
God.
how many chapters is One Piece out? Because I just finished reading Berserk, or catching up rather.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
Yeah, that was a fucking ride. That was it's so good. I could go. I've been reading a lot of manga in like the last 2 years. I could go on for that stuff for a while, but the point is, people tell me it's like, oh, go read One Piece, and I go and look it up, and it's like, yeah, it's like 1,200 chapters. I got a life to live, man. Like, that would take me literally years. That's so much.
Binge watching shows is, I mean, it's insane how that's developed. Did you know that in I think in I can't remember which was which, but I think it was in Japan they released the episodes of an anime all at the same time, but then in America they released them like weekly. Like it was no, it was the other way around. They released it in
Oh,
Japan weekly, and then in America they released it all at the same time. And Japanese fans were complaining because Americans got all the episodes at the same time. But usually Japanese fans are used to the whole weekly episode thing because that's where they air, and that's kind of what they're used
yeah.
to.
Well, I think that's probably, I mean, what I think the reason why you're saying that is just because like that's what we are used to here, and it's what they're used to there. And I don't know. Japan has always been a fan of like the if it ain't broke kind of approach, which I can appreciate very much. But it also does mean that, like, once the world changes, where no one's really watching TV on broadcast TV in the U.S. anymore, so everyone just watches Netflix and Disney Plus, and well, no one's going to watch Paramount Plus, and definitely no one watches PBS All Access, even though I have to watch my Star Trek.
God,
But
I didn't even know like half of those that you said. I don't even know about like
yeah,
Paramount Plus. That's a thing now, really?
It's gonna suck.
Just license it, man. Just give it to another one and license. HBO Go has been doing, or HBO Max, I think that's what it is now. HBO Max has been doing really good with their exclusives. I know that Godzilla vs Kong is going to be on that.
I guess so. I thought this was the reason that we invented Netflix, right? Like, I thought the reason was like no one wants to pay for like fucking HBO, and like
Netflix needs competition, though. They need competition. That's
yeah, but they need like one or two competitors, not like every channel has its like every studio.
they'll
Imagine that.
die out. They'll die out. It's just a matter of time because I mean, it's just like with anything. They're gonna jump on the bandwagon and make a million different versions of it. It's just a matter of time before some of them get eaten up, and I mean that's what Facebook does
like
now is they buy companies that work.
It's supposed to prevent piracy, right? But like this is just making me want to go and boot up BitTorrent all over again.
Yeah, that's the thing is if I can't access it within
shit.
like 5 minutes, I really just want to torrent it. But I am ethical about my torrenting, where if I like the movie enough, I go out and I buy the Blu-ray, because then the Blu-ray usually also has a download code, which I like, and it goes to Vudu.
So, you know what I've done actually? So I have Disney Plus, right? And I've been watching WandaVision, which is really good.
Really?
I know some people. Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. And the same goes for like The Expanse. So like I love The Expanse. The Expanse is amazing. And I have it on Amazon. I buy the entire season through Amazon because I really want The Expanse to keep going in particular. But either way, I buy these things or whatever, and then I boot up, like for The Mandalorian too. This also happened with The Mandalorian. I boot it up and I start playing it on my computer because I don't watch it on my TV. My TV is like dinky. It's like 42 inches and across the room. I'd rather watch it on my computer where I've got like a really nice monitor and everything. And it doesn't stream me anything above 720p. And I try as hard as I can to get it working in like 1080p at the very least. And it just doesn't work. And I go and look it up and like, oh yeah, you can't stream 1080p on your computer because you don't have
the piracy thing. Oh my, it's so bad.
It's like, I paid for this shit. I'm giving you money. I am playing your game. screw this. I'm just going to go and torrent. And I go to the seed box. I just plug it in, and 5 minutes later, I have a 1080p copy.
That's
like,
the
fine.
thing. Is I bought movies, like I bought I bought Isle of Dogs, right? And I was gonna watch it, and then I was gonna watch it on I have a 21:9 monitor, so it's perfect. And it's very color accurate. I like watching it on my monitor better than my TV sometimes. I boot it up on Chrome. It doesn't work. I'm like, okay, maybe not Chrome. I do it on Firefox. It doesn't work. It only works on like Edge browser, and then you can't put any kind of what is it, like plugins on Chrome or on Edge browser. So I would have to boot up Edge browser every single time that I wanted to do it because of their anti-piracy thing. In fact, I'm not even allowed to run it through DisplayPort. I can't even stream it with DisplayPort because HDMI has some kind of anti-piracy thing built into it. That's how
HCP. I have the same problem. It's such a huge issue. You just go and buy it, so you at least feel like you're paying the people for what they're making. And then it's like, well, you've given me no choice. I have to go pirate this if I want to watch it the way I want to. You won't let me do it because I don't have the right cable, and because instead you want me to watch it on my Chromecast hooked up to my TV that's like way the fuck over there. No, I'm gonna do it right here. It's just, I don't know. It's stupid.
That's the whole thing with like with retro video games, like playing retro video games. The fact that, like, I love that Nintendo is trying with the NES Classic and stuff, but they're not doing enough, because if you look at like the Wii Virtual Console, oh my god, there were thousands of titles on there, and you could access them in it, and now that's gone. That is all gone. Obviously those games aren't gone. Nintendo's very good at preserving that stuff, and we saw that with Mario 64, like the files that were leaked. They found L. You remember that?
Yeah.
But I remember Gabe Newell saying something about how piracy is a developer issue where they aren't doing enough as far as offering good ways to emulate it. Because I think any reasonable person would use a Nintendo emulator if they had one. If there was like here's the thing, if there was like a software, right? It was like a $200 software for Nintendo's emulator, and it's just perfect. Like, it runs everything perfectly, and I can play any game at any time. Even if it was a streaming service, or not a streaming service, but like a paid service like Adobe, where I would have to pay like yearly or something, I would totally do it if it meant that they had all of their titles there. Or even if Nintendo, which would never happen, just be like, fuck it, here's all of the ROMs for every game we've ever made, just pay $5 a piece for it, whatever. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to offer easy ways for people to access their games. They make it so difficult, and then they, come down harsh on these people who are making fan games or trying to preserve the games that they love. It just doesn't make sense for them to come down so hard on it. But
it's, there's, I think the way you were putting it really meshes well, in particular, like with the if it is so difficult for someone to access the cool thing that you made that they are having to like resort to piracy, then that's not their problem, that's your problem. Like, there's always going to be some percentage of people that like get something because they're like, I don't want to pay for it, but like, that's so low now. I feel like that's such a that's not it never was the excuse in the first place. It's just, I don't know. Like, I want to give people that worked on The Mandalorian money. I want to give people that worked on WandaVision money. I want to give, the people who, I want to give Nintendo money if I want to go and play their game, like on an emulator or something like that, $5 to whoever made Bubble Bobble or whatever. But you can't. Just, there's no mechanic by which you can do that.
And sometimes like there are games that, is it ethical to pirate a game that you literally never had the opportunity to play? Like a game that was never localized, like Mother 3.
Yeah.
Games that were fan translated. It's like, well, I can't play this any other way, and you're going to punish me for wanting to play your game. I would pay you if you gave me a good way to play it, which, like with Trials of Mana, they're doing, which is awesome, and I think it's doing amazing as far as I can tell. Like, I keep hitting my mic stand. But as far as I can tell, like with Super Mario All-Stars, it's doing amazing. Those are decade-old games but
Yeah.
people still buy them because they want to support the developers, even though it's
Mm.
really an awful emulator. I mean, it's locked to 4x3 still. You can't. There's no
Mhm.
way to put it um into your aspect ratio. There's no like
Yep.
control changes. It just doesn't make sense when I can like boot up an emulator on Steam, or not on Steam, but just on my computer, and then use any controller I want. Especially with like Steam controllers, like Steam allows any controller that you could possibly want. Nintendo
Mhm.
does not allow that. You cannot just use any controller configuration, which I think is also an accessibility issue. I think Xbox addressed that really well recently with their big, uh, that accessibility controller where you can plug in, like it has like
Oh
a
yeah, that
million
thing's
different
cool.
ports. Yeah, it is really
Yeah.
cool. I think Nintendo may have been developing a version like that, but I'm not sure. But
Mm.
it only took them what, like 20 years to
Uh,
to develop something like that. Or
Nintendo's always been just really weird and slow with some of those things. Like they're kind of slow in the uptake. Um, don't really keep up. I mean, they make really good like first party games, right? They're
yeah.
like they know their formula. They nail it every single time. Like everyone's gonna play. Everyone's gonna play the new Zelda. Everyone's gonna play the new Mario. Everyone's gonna play the new Animal Crossing. Um, and everyone's gonna play the new Pokemon, I guess. But like, yeah, they just they found a formula that works, and they're like, we're not gonna change it. We're not gonna do it anything different. So, um,
Speaking of The Mandalorian, did you see that
hmm,
do you see have you seen like the, oh, what is it? Pull up a picture, Dreams, that big LED panel that they put around instead of using a green screen?
no,
Oh, you have to see this.
what
Look this up.
did they do it to
I
nail the lighting?
Yeah, or they have, basically it allows the VFX team to be like, it's pre-production. They've moved VFX to pre-production because now they build
Oh,
the sets before, and they're yeah. Look at this. It's just a big, like, huge round
projected LED screen kind of.
yeah.
Oh, you know what they're doing this for? Because it's really hard to do in post, from what I understand,
I mean,
is it's
chroma
lighting.
keying, yeah, lighting and
Yeah.
chroma keying, because like, so with his helmet,
Hmm.
the fact that if there was a green screen behind him, it would be a nightmare every single episode for them to do
Oh,
chroma keying with the helmet.
you'd have to CGI the thing as well. Like you'd have to basically, because you'd have to basically build like a PBR helmet, shove it on his head, and that would look awful. Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
rad.
it's so awesome. Apparently, I watched an interview about it, and apparently they've had some like Wile E. Coyote moments where people just walk into the into, into the LED panel because it looks so real, and it
Hmm.
moves with the camera, so they can set it to where it moves with the camera and it looks like it's in a real space,
Hmm.
which is insane to me. That, oh my god, that's so awesome. Like, you're there in Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Maybe they could set this up for like the um like a theme park kind of thing. Because I went to the Void when they did the Star Wars VR thing, which was pretty cool. A little goofy, but pretty cool. But like, imagine this plus like that somehow. Like you do
Yeah.
some kind of immersive walkthrough theme park thing.
Oh, speaking of like real life VR spaces,
Hmm.
um, do you think, I know that Oculus did this as kind of like a play test a couple years back, where they had like a big warehouse scale like VR demo where they were all, it was like a shooting, like laser tag or something, but it
Hmm.
was it was a real space, and they just had like boxes lined out, but when you put on the headset, it was like you're in the game and the boxes are
Yeah.
are in the virtual space.
Oh, they're tracked. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's next, I want to
I
say 2 years, honestly, just at the rate it's been going.
So what I actually think that is, and I'm actually I'm contradicting some of my not earlier opinions I gave here, but earlier opinions I've just given in general. I actually think that's a better idea for AR rather than VR. Because like if you have AR, then augmented reality versus virtual reality, you're overlaying real life,
Yeah.
and with if you do that perfectly, and that's the hard part, you got to do it perfectly. You now can turn a box actually into like some cover with maybe it has like a health bar in it, so the cover like gets blown away, and to run away from it, or it like gets chunks blown out of it or something. You could, I think that would be cooler because then it's less difficulty with the whole like latency thing. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about latency of like slamming into someone. That'd be my worry. But
I like the idea of AR, but it
mm,
seems so. I tried out the Microsoft Hololens a couple years ago, and it was okay, but it's not anything like groundbreaking to me because it still seems very rudimentary. VR is developed. I mean, I'm here, and this is a consumer product that I'm using and I
yep.
bought, and it's super cheap. Anyone can buy I mean, not anyone, but it's a relatively inexpensive product to buy a Quest 2, and
Hmm.
it's developing very quickly. Whereas AR, I haven't heard anything regarding AR in the last couple years. I mean, you get like smart mirrors maybe, or the
Yeah.
idea of like a heads-up display on a car, but it just seems so far from what VR can
AR
do.
is, yeah. For me, AR is kind of a. I don't want to like. I don't want to like smear on it too much, but like my personal point of view is like I feel like people who are calling for AR this early, like they don't understand kind of the challenges and the pitfalls that we're still dealing with VR. Like it's still not super great. You've still got, FOV issues for your vertical and your horizontal. You've still got like comfort issues are a huge thing. Like the Index is the most comfortable headset I've ever worn, and I can still feel it after I wear it for about
Really?
3 or 4 hours.
I
Oh hell yeah!
think
I
okay,
love the
so
fucking Index.
I think the Index is relatively comfortable, but I think the PlayStation VR has been the most comfortable one that I've
See, I've
ever
never worn
worn.
a PSVR headset,
Okay.
so that
That
that might be true.
obviously it's not as capable as the Index, but it was
Mm-hmm.
definitely very comfortable, which was
Mm-hmm.
interesting. It does get a little tiring to wear something. What does it weigh? 2.2 pounds on my
Yeah.
face.
Yep.
It's heavy.
It is. I think
But
that's what a lot of people are expecting the Apple thing to be.
oh, I forgot
Is
about that. I forgot Apple's developing
uh
their VR headset. They're
I
doing so much stuff. They said they're making a car. They said they're making.
yeah, they've got a lot of stuff that are kind of in process, but the headset I think a lot of people are overhyping a bit because Apple specifically said, keep in mind this is Apple saying this. They said it is going to be a niche, expensive product. And this is Apple saying it's going to be niche and
I've
it's
heard
going
it.
to be
I've heard it's
expensive.
gonna be like $2,500 or something like
Yeah,
that. It's.
I'm gonna bet 2,500, 3,000, something like that. That's a good call.
I wonder. I mean, are they gonna
It'll
make
probably
it work with
only be like
PC? I know. Will it only work on Mac? I mean, that's.
it'll probably only work on Mac, and then we'll be like, oh, we gotta put VRChat on that. And it's like, oh, we gotta upload another avatar for, oh god,
Good
oh
luck
god,
getting that
I don't
on
want to,
on Apple.
yeah, I don't want to think about that right now.
Fix it, Tupper. Fix it.
I can't fix that. It's that is a tough problem to solve.
Are you excited? Speaking of cars, are you excited
Mm.
for self-driving?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting a Tesla of some kind, just because of the like self-driving thing. I want to get a truck. I want the truck really bad. It looks so cool.
I love the Cybertruck. I think you either love it or you hate it.
I
It's
fucking love it. It's so good.
get up get up a picture of it like next to I think Jay Leno was like standing next to it. You can see like
What?
it's gigantic. Yeah, Jay Leno did a thing where he drove the Cybertruck and he
Oh, I
drove it
gotta go
through the
watch that.
tunnels. Yeah, but oh my god, yeah, there
He's
there
standing
he is. There he is.
there.
Look how small he is compared to that. God,
Oh,
it's
I love
huge.
it. Good. It's a pickup truck, man. It's gotta be huge. Oh, that's
The
great.
thing is, it's like where I live, I've started seeing a lot more Teslas. But the
Hmm.
second the Cybertruck comes out, that's a statement. You love it or you hate it. People are gonna take pictures of it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "That's so fucking stupid," and then they go and they take a picture with it.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
I.
that's really what matters. People are gonna be like, "It's so dumb. Can I have a ride?" It's like, I just think it's a super rad design. Like, it's just really cool, and like I love stainless steel bodies in cars, which is like no paint, no nothing. Which is why like that's the main reason I like the DeLorean. Secondarily,
Yeah,
because of the meme reason, but like it's just gorgeous stainless steel, no paint, no nothing. It's great.
I felt so bad for them whenever the window broke because I know why that is. They put a sledgehammer to the door, and then it got like a micro crack. And once that
Yeah.
happens, the whole thing's done.
Yeah.
And like Elon said, they were throwing balls at it for hours beforehand, which in retrospect probably wasn't a great idea to like keep throwing shit at your demo product. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought
it
I
didn't
thought
go
they
through.
handled that in a pretty funny way.
They
Like
did.
it was like, yeah, it's a live demo. Speaking as someone who has done live demos and had them like fuck up right in my hands, it's like, yeah, that's how it goes sometimes.
They started selling
Like-
T-shirts with the design of the ball, like the ball crack on it. It's pretty funny.
I'd
But-
buy it.
I want the Tesla tequila. I tried to
Yeah,
order
They
one.
have a tequila?
Oh yeah, look it up. Look up the Tesla tequila.
Oh god.
It's like
I'm not normally
it's
I'm
like
not normally a
$400,
tequila
but
person.
well, I mean, any Tesla product is gonna sell out, and you can resell it
course.
later. Why not? Yeah, look at that.
It's in a bolt? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so creepy.
I was okay. I was on the website. I
Mhm.
had it in my cart. I was like ready to check out. Doesn't ship to my state. Sells out next second.
Oh,
I'm just like, oh
yeah,
my god.
probably wouldn't ship to my state either. I don't think that's allowed around here.
I was like, I'm gonna have to ship it to a family member in a state over
What?
if it comes out again. Uh-oh. We down? Ah, shit.
So-
Tequila.
Oh,
Mhm.
and we're back. Okay, let me
Oh.
re-invite me.
Oh,
Let's,
okay. I will do so. Did you
God.
crash out of like everything? It looks
Yeah.
like your internet died.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. DSL, right? It's
Oh,
awesome. Can't wait for
Yeah,
Starlink.
wonderful.
I think the stream's still up. If not, we're still recording. So
There's
It-
an issue.
It was frozen. It's good now.
It's a private.
I can get him in.
Can't invite you. Oh, you can.
I can get him in.
Okay,
Yep.
Perfect.
I can break the rules.
oh,
Well, you have
thank
the
God having a
power.
dev on the show.
This is
Yeah, this is
Save the
your one
platform.
pass, unfortunately. All right, I sent it over.
Let's get this back up. And the stream's still running?
Seems like it.
All right, cool.
Let's see. Shader pink.
Yeah. Why is that?
Oh. Why it's shader pink? I don't
Yeah.
know why. I don't know why shader pink is shader pink. That's a great question, actually.
Oh, why is it appearing on my screen as my
I think
Oh, who
it's
knows?
that pink so it's easily recognizable. So if you've messed something up with a texture, your eye can pick it up
Yeah,
easier. If
it's a very
Ah.
unnatural color. so-
that's why they chose that one.
Mm-hmm.
well,
All says stream's good, so
all right.
we're good.
All right, cool. But yeah, I was trying to order Tesla tequila. Shoulda sent it to a family member. I think Tesla
Mhm.
could really make any product and people would buy it. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
they've gone. It's so hype. It's just hype oriented. That's why their stock
is.
price is so high. You know,
Mhm.
I think Elon actually got like removed from the board of directors for a while because he said the stock price was too high.
yeah. Well, he did because like he started like the SEC started like saying you need to chill out, dude, and then the board knocked him out. But yeah, I think if
my cable's being weird. Here, keep talking. Let me push that back
Okay.
in.
I think specifically like if Elon wants to sell anything, he could probably do it. Like he sold a friggin' flamethrower.
Oh yeah, the
He sold-
flamethrower. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had
He
one
sold
of those. That would have been
Yeah,
cool.
it's not really I mean, it's just like a it's like a little torch, but whatever. It's still funny. Something else that he decided he was just gonna sell and then sold.
The short shorts.
Was it?
Yeah, he sold short shorts with sexy on the back of it.
Oh,
Hats.
right.
The Boring
Yeah.
Hat Company or whatever.
The boring, yeah. I already have a hat though. Mine says Bridges on it. I've had one person recognize that as a Death Stranding hat. He's a cool guy.
God,
He's the only cool guy.
to think that we could have had a Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro Silent Hill game with what's his name?
With the guy that's in Death Stranding?
No. The manga artist. Who's the
Junji Ito.
Yeah, Junji Ito as the designer for the
Mhm.
the monsters. That would have been insane, man.
Yeah. That would have been probably too much, honestly.
You think
Like
so?
I'm not that great with scary games.
Oh, you
Like
just mean too much for you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like in real life, like I've ruined haunted houses like on dates before. I've gone to a haunted house on a date before, and I kind of ruined it because like I was just kind of like talking to the people jumping out with the chainsaws with no chains on them, and then like I was watching my sister play Silent Hill, and I was like, "Wow, this is really fucking scary." She was like, "No, it's not. Something's wrong with me, probably."
Yeah,
So
I haunted houses have never been something I always feel bad because I hear that with the haunt actors, if you don't like react, it kind of makes them sad. You know, it's like telling a joke and someone doesn't laugh at your joke.
man, fucking now I feel bad. Come on, that makes me feel. Oh man, they were trying their best. You're
I
right.
went I went during COVID on to
Mhm.
one and they were all wearing masks and that just it threw me off. They
That's cute though. Like Jason jumps out of the closet, you know, with a little mask on. It's like, come on, you gotta keep 6 feet away. He's like, And it's that would be good, honestly. I go to a social distancing haunted house.
it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I do want to ask, do you think we live in a simulation?
Uh,
And
I
does it matter? Does it even matter if we do?
I will have to agree with statistics and say that yeah, probably, and no, it doesn't. Um, I think it's interesting to think about primarily because a lot of these weird artifacts, like the double slit experiment we saw earlier, it's probably just an artifact of like how things are built. Like it's not necessarily a physical rule. It's just it's how it is, and it's like havoc physics, right? Like you're playing Gary's mod, and like you got this bottle and this bottle colliding with each other, and they get stuck inside each other. But the universe just has rules to prevent that, and the programming is really good or something like that. I don't know.
I've
They're
heard
interesting thought
people,
experiments.
I've heard people, physicists say that it's the universe is saving space on memory by not putting things where they need to be unless something is seeing it where it
like
should be.
with the
Oh yeah,
slit experiment, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's that would be like an optimization problem where if like you can perfectly simulate, like if everything is deterministic, which means that if everything given input variables of x y z a b c, you're going to get output the same every single time, even though you don't look inside the black box. That's a deterministic system, right? So all you really need to know is like you don't need someone looking at that star way over there to know that it goes supernova at some point to keep track of every single photon and neutron and proton and whatever in there to make sure it goes supernova. You just assume it does until it's being observed, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, that would be like an optimization problem. That's probably how it works.
I have heard that the math shows that it's more likely than not that we live in a simulation. I don't know how that works. How the
Well,
math can check out like that.
it's kind of it's a thought experiment thing, right? Like it's the most statistically likely thing. Like it does hook on one thing though. Like if it is possible to build a simulation of a universe inside of a universe with finite space and energy, then it is extremely probable that there are multiple layers of it because like everyone's going to do it in their universe at some point, just ad nauseum over and over and over, right? So it's just a matter. It's like the Boltzmann brain thing I was talking about. Like anything that is random and may potentially occur across like infinite time is almost guaranteed to occur. even if
Yeah.
it's super, super rare.
Huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, that freaks me out. Like knowing that maybe I'll wake up and then there's, you know, something on the other side and they're like, you did it. You finished.
You won.
You won the game.
Well, it's maybe it's what was that in Rick and Morty, the game,
Oh
the
yeah, you live a whole life within
yeah,
within the arcade.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Like
that
maybe you're just playing that
This
game and you
guy's
don't know it.
taking Roy off the grid.
Exactly. Like maybe we're all just playing Roy, or maybe it's just one of us playing Roy, and like we die, and it's like, oh, you just take the headset off.
That's what's
I
so
mean,
hard to
There was
rationalize
an
sometimes.
episode.
It
There
was
was
a
an
really good
episode
episode.
where there was simulations within simulations within simulations. Remember?
Oh,
He
yeah,
had
the
to fix
battery.
his car and his battery
Yeah.
and his spaceship, and then
Yeah.
it's like another universe.
Keep
providing
Summer
power for his
safe.
car.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That like the part where what was it, the goo baby, where he brings out like the goo.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah.
Just
And-
leave the car alone, Daddy. It's just-
You know what that reminds me of? Pull up that video I sent you of the. Have you seen the video of the woman and she like reunite? Yeah, he's already got it. There it is. The video of the woman like reuniting with her dead daughter in VR.
Oh God, no. Is this real?
That's real. Yeah. She died of like some kind of rare blood disease and then they brought her back in VR. Oh, this hurts to watch.
Yeah, this is I don't know if I would want to do this to someone.
I think honestly, like, okay, so it was out of her own volition. Like she wanted this, right? But
Mhm.
honestly, I think it's cruel. I think it's cruel to do something like
I mean,
this.
she can't touch her. She can't feel her. She's not actually. Oh, God, I don't know though. Maybe that's not my. Obviously, it's not my call to make.
Yeah.
It's just.
I think
This is
it's like
painful.
I think it's like with, you know, people are like, "Oh, let her grieve, you know, this is good for her." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not good to bring things
Yeah,
back
I
and
don't know if
manifest
that's
them."
I don't know if that's a good form of grieving. Like, I don't know. I don't have the proper experience in
Yeah,
or
in any kind
knowledge
of
in literally any
psychological.
relevant field.
I just
Yeah.
know based on
But-
my experiences that screws with me. I don't like that. It's like
Yeah,
and the other one, Dreams, the firing simulator. You remember that one where you have the guy and
Firing
you get
simulator.
these. I sent the video to you, I think before the stream. Where
You to
you
me?
get no to Dreams.
oh, okay.
You get this worker for you, right? And he comes in and sits down and just skip forward a bit. Yeah, you sit down with one of your employees, and then it
I
tells
already
you like
fucking hate
dialogue
this.
object to fire him.
Go on.
So it's like training how to fire people.
No, I don't like
No
this.
alternative than to
This is
terminate your
horrible.
employment.
Though remarkably lifelike, Barry is not a real person, but rather a virtual reality simulation.
So
This
he
is so
thought
bad.
Jason
I don't
was
like
just
this.
using his voice
No,
to
like
interact
both,
with
like this one I
this,
don't like for different
software.
reasons. The one I didn't, the other one had some like, I don't know if this is a good idea. This one I know for a fact is a bad idea. It's just like, what? Why would you? I don't know. I don't know why I don't like this, but I don't like it.
You're just it's like you're training people to become like you're just pushing empathy out of them, really. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's a fake person that doesn't feel anything, so you can train firing them on this.
Yeah, here's how to deal with genuine human emotion that is going to tug at your heartstrings so that you can actually do your job and get rid of them. This is
Yeah.
evil.
It's like, oh, don't feel bad. They're not real, which is like, I don't think that helps that much. It's just,
I can't wait till we get to the point of, God, you remember the Black Mirror episode where, what was it, the museum where they had
actually, I haven't watched many of those episodes. So.
Okay, so they, just to break it down, this one part, they had this guy who commit like a murder or something, right? And what they did was, instead of like sending him to prison, he signed off his rights to his like after he dies, his consciousness would be uploaded into a computer, and then they would just torture him over and over again for eternity.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just put him in an electric chair, and then he goes in a museum, and people can go and like press a button and electrocute him over and over again. And then whenever they electrocute him, they get a little trinket that comes out, and it's a snapshot of his consciousness while being shocked perpetually, like forever. And you get to see it, like see him in agony. So
Oh my God.
he never actually like physically had to do any time, but after he died, he signed off his rights to that, and they made
So
him.
some version of his consciousness just exists like digitally to just be tortured.
Yeah.
Well, what if that's you?
Like Johnny
That-
Silverhand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
there was
I mean,
literally wasn't there like literally a quest in Cyberpunk that was like this, but it was a guy killing himself, a guy committing suicide, and they turned it in like a brain dance, I think.
oh geez.
I think there was a
Yeah,
quest
there was
like this.
torture
I
and
haven't played. I only played through the main storyline of Cyberpunk just because
Mm.
I want to wait till the game is in like a fully playable state before I have like my first real good experience, going out and doing all the quests. Because
It's okay right now.
Yeah.
It needs some work, but
that's the thing is I played through the main storyline, and obviously I had so many issues.
Yeah.
There was one point where oh god, do you know the side quest where it's like the guy who like committed murder or whatever, and now he's like some kind of like spiritual like preacher, and he goes on
Yeah.
and
that's the guy I was talking about. That's him.
yeah. So I got to the house where he was going to talk to the mother of the son
Yeah.
he killed. I get out of the car, and then he immediately just starts running away, and the cops shoot at me. And I fail the quest because he just runs away
Wonderful.
every time. And I was like, whatever, okay. I didn't know what to do, so I just had to quit that quest and not play it until later on. Eventually, it just miraculously worked.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's like one of the best quests I've had so far because it made me genuinely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But the follow-up quest to that is the one we were talking about because that's like the thing that the lady wants you to do. I guess spoilers, but whatever. It is still even if I talk about it in vague senses here, it's still like crazy to watch and play through.
Why do people still VR or still see VR as a gimmick? Like, why is it
I don't
still
know.
in that category?
I think so there was this guy who was doing he was in Clubhouse. That's where he was. He was doing a talk in Clubhouse, which I have different, very strong opinions about Clubhouse.
I wanted to get to that. I don't
Yeah,
know why that's
yeah.
popular. It just seems like online conference calls.
Well, we will get to it. I have complaining to do about it. But there was a guy who apparently pretty important. He's like a VC guy. Like he does a bunch of like funding and like investment business guy kind of thing. And someone was talking to him about VR, and he was like, no one plays that. No one uses VR. That's like the thing that you buy the Quest once, you never use it again. And like there were a bunch of people on Twitter just saying like, have you done no research? Because like that's absolutely not the case. Like the guy who was I think he was talking to someone, and the guy was like, yeah, like every time, I think it might have been, was it up? Yeah, I don't know. It was. I think I know who it was, but I don't want to say names because I might get it wrong. But he was talking to someone, and he said that they're like, no, like I have kids come over, and like the first thing the kids do, or it might have been Rogan even. I don't know, but the first thing the kids do when they come over is put the headset on and play around with it every single time, and he just didn't understand that. Like, I thought this was just a gimmick. Like, maybe I need to go look at it again. But he was just so confident, super confident that it was like just gimmicky and shitty. But it's not, right? Like, we know. Look at what we're doing now. Look at like, people doing like dance videos, people doing like live VJ clubs, DJ clubs, like with real actual DJs, like that they've gotten to come and do this. People who are doing like, stuff like not like that, not like the firing guy, but the one before it, like, dealing with grief in their own way, or there's so many different things you can do with it.
One of the most interesting ones to me was I went into a world, and you probably know about this world once I say it. A friend invited me, and it was a bunch of Japanese people doing yoga, just like all in the morning. They're just doing yoga together. And to any outsider, that'd be like, that is so stupid. Why would you do that? But it makes sense. Like it's especially during the pandemic. I feel like the pandemic has been good for. Unfortunately, it has been good for kind of the overall view of VR, like how people see it in terms of it being a legitimate platform. Because now people go on there, they do yoga, they go on there and they do like group meditations or boxing or whatever they want to do. There's so many applications for VR that we don't even know about yet. I mean, hell, I had Pastor Brock on here. He's doing VR sermons in VRChat, which is untouched territory that I would not have thought of 5 years ago. It's insanity to me that the institutional interest in even in VRChat specifically, like not just in VR in general, like the institutional interest in VRChat has been so dramatic. So it's been cool to see that develop.
I think there's going to be a lot of we're like in the middle stages of people realizing that there's like tons of good stuff here and in VR in general. But there is going to be like we had this weird early stage that lasted just a little bit too long where people started writing it off, right? Like they started writing off VR. It's like, oh, it didn't work. This was, this is, like smartwatches. Smartwatches are kind of at the bottom of that curve now. Like no one cares about smartwatches now. And to a degree, like tablets that aren't iPads, essentially. They're at the bottom of that kind of thing. Netbooks. Netbooks are an excellent example. Like, remember when netbooks were a thing? And, like, everyone was like, oh, netbooks are fucking great. They're so cool, tiny little laptops. Those, like, just fell straight down. VR started getting there for a lot of people and their kind of perception of the world and of current tech. But in reality, it was, like, up here. Like, people are doing cool stuff. It's just that it's hard to access. Like, up until the Quest 2 existed, it was hard to get a good headset that was, cheap, essentially.
Yeah. So Clubhouse. Let's talk about Clubhouse. I don't even know. To me, my understanding of it is it's just like you go on there and it's like a virtual conference meeting. Like
sort of.
I think the whole appeal of it is just the fact that it's invite only and it's only on iOS. I think there's the main two factors for why it's blowing up so much.
I think okay. So I'm going to tell you what I think of Clubhouse as compressed as I can. It is basically that. It is basically like, it's more like a moderated panel, right? Like a continuous ongoing panel, like a convention or something. And it can be about anything. Like I've seen ones on like, crypto. It's all fucking crypto, dude. All they talk about on there is crypto and NFTs and whatever. It's so annoying. It's like, okay, you know how in like various VR applications you'll go around and there's always like that group talking about the future of VR and stuff like that, instead of just like chilling out and having fun with their friends or whatever.
Yeah,
like that's Clubhouse but with crypto. Every single corner you turn there's someone talking about fucking crypto. But that's not the problem I have with it. Even though I have major issues like morally with crypto and NFTs and that kind of stuff. But my issue with Clubhouse is exactly what you just said. It's like, it is super hyper exclusive because you need an invite, first off. And they make it a big deal. So I did get into Clubhouse through a friend, but I discovered that you can actually track back who gave invites all the way back. So like my friend got invited by his boss. His boss got invited by an acquaintance of his. They got invited by them, by that. You can go all the way back. So it's like, it's kind of gross. It's like this social
awful.
web of, it's like, this guy, prove it. It's like, what the, it's so fucking weird. But the fact that it's iOS only, that to me is the most telling thing, because Clubhouse is not complicated. Like it's just audio. It's just basically a Discord call with moderation. Like that's all it is. And they're like, oh, we're working on Android, guys. We'll bring it around soon.
Yeah, sure. You'll bring Android around once. Their valuation hit $1 billion recently. Did you see that? In May of last year, it was 100 million. Now it's $1 billion.
valuation for what? How do
Just
you
the
make money
company.
off that?
I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
when you get when you have a value, it's because someone believes you could make money and be worth that, but you're not. Like I have people ask me, it's like, how does VRChat make money? And it's like the answer to that in my mind is fairly obvious. If like if I put myself in the position of like I'm a Clubhouse developer, how do I make money? The answer is just I don't know. Ask Elon Reels Nice. I mean, he was on there, right? I don't know. It's just it stinks so bad, and it's just it feels like and apologies to anyone who is like, got their diamond hands or got their Doge or whatever. It feels very much like a artificial squeeze, but in like application form, right? This is GME, but an iOS app.
Isn't
It's
it
so
funny that all
weird.
of these things came around at the same time? GME
People are
happened at the
bored,
same
dude.
time as
No, people are
Dogecoin,
fucking bored.
Clubhouse.
Yeah. People are just bored. That's what it is. It's
scary when you get a group of
yeah.
people and then you have like a unified enemy or a unified goal. It's
Mhm.
like any time on 4chan, whenever Shia LaBeouf happens or whatever, they'll. You remember
Yeah,
that? You remember they
I
triangulated the
do.
position of the
Yeah, but yeah,
flag using the
the jets.
stars and
Didn't they
God.
use like jet lanes or something? Where it's
Yes,
like, oh,
jet
this
lanes
guy's going this
too.
way,
And
and
then
it's costing this one.
Dude, they watched the star patterns to find one of the flags.
Oh, jeez.
and then
And
they
then
had
he hid the flag inside of a museum, inside of a building within a museum, and they still found it.
they
Poor guy. I feel so bad for him.
and after that, whenever he was like staying in a cabin, like he went away, they matched all the cabin patterns, like the wood patterns, to the patterns of the cabins in the area he was staying at to try and find exactly which one he was in. Like they were looking at wood patterns.
Poor
That
guy.
yeah.
It really is. Yeah. It's when you get enough people in the same place to do something stupid, it's no longer stupid. It's just reality. Like
That's
but
GME
yeah,
for you.
it is. That's GME. That's Clubhouse. That's NFTs. That's all of that. It's like, why does this have power? Because people believe it has power. Oh, okay.
I mean, that goes for anything, though. I mean, the U.S. dollar is fiat currency. We only believe that it has value because the government tells us it
Well,
has value.
yeah. Well, the government has like guns and tanks and airplanes and gives me water and like makes sure my power works unless I'm in Texas. And at that point, you said that you don't want them helping you with that. So
Hey, it's
it's just
only the strongest survive, right?
oh,
Remember?
okay.
You remember that? What was it? The mayor of Texas, like one of the mayors of a Texas
Oh, it was the
town, said,
former mayor.
"Yeah,
Former mayor.
and he said like only the strong will survive." God,
That
what a piece of shit thing to say.
it really was like people like fucking dying, like literally freezing to death inside of their beds, inside of your state, inside of your county, and you have just the balls to say something so stupid. What a you should be stripped of your human being title at that point. Like you are no longer permitted to be defined by like being a human if you
Yeah.
say something like that. If you actually believe shit like that, it's so weird.
It was like it's so funny to me when things like that happen. Like when Joel Osteen, do you remember Joel Osteen? How he, whenever the floods were happening, how he didn't let people stay in his megachurch. Like he wasn't letting people who lost their
Oh
homes, like the homes
yeah,
were flooded. He wasn't letting them stay in there.
yeah,
Like
very
really?
yeah. That's very telling, I guess. I don't know. Not exactly a model citizen, even from before that. At least from what I understand.
Well, I think I've wrapped up on basically every question I have for you. So,
All right.
what's on your bucket list, Tupper?
It's on my bucket list. The easy one's Mars. Let's do the callback.
You gotta take the girlfriend with though, right? To not be selfish.
Yeah,
You gotta.
I have to
Is she-
take
would-
a girlfriend. I have to
Would
take.
Landwell be in on it? Is she?
She, I think she'd be a little bit spooked. She doesn't like flying, so I think like
So space is a whole other level for for flying.
space would be. I mean, I'd be a little bit scared. I would be a little bit scared, but I would trust in the starship, and just as long as I don't have to do the landing on Earth, because they've not been doing that very well yet.
So Mars and what else? What else you got?
Let's see. I gotta go to Japan at some point. I really do. Like
You
that's just
haven't
kind of.
been?
Mm-mm.
I would feel like out of all people, you would have been to
I
Japan.
what I was gonna go.
And then
Actually,
pandemic happened.
yeah. So yeah, I think a couple years ago, a couple people like in our friend group went simultaneously, and I didn't go that year because I was holding down the fort, as it were, over the holidays, and then then the pandemic happened, and we were gonna go, or I was gonna go like 2020, and then well, no, I stayed inside all year, man. It's great.
I think we all did. I think
Yeah.
collectively It's funny. I always thought 2020, or I always like 2020 was bad, but I
Mhm.
was like 2021 can't be that bad. Maybe it'll just be bizarre. It
It
seems to
is
be worse.
bizarre.
It seems to be worse than 2020 in some aspects. I feel
I
like.
think in some, I think it's definitely leaning more bizarre than it is anything else. Especially like I've been noticing this, like there's a bunch of like different like forms of art and stuff that I've been seeing people doing, which is just humor as an example, is just be getting more and more just absolute absurdist.
Yeah.
Like stuff there's this YouTube series I've been watching recently. There's only like 3 episodes called Ina.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
watched it.
Ina
We watched that Temptation Stairway. Oh, it was so
Temptations.
good.
It's
Turron?
beautiful. The
Turron?
Turon. It's beautiful. It makes no sense. Even the artist, like the guy who wrote it, like came up with it, he was like, don't make sense of this. It's just random bullshit. There's no story. Make one up if you want, but there's no story. And I was like, yeah, perfect. But like I've seen so many things like that come up. It's actually saying there my YouTube recommends right up there. But to watch it again.
God.
But
The what is
I
it?
think
What
it's
was
just
it
bizarre.
called? God Race. You know that song? The one that was in there? The one where it's like the speed run song while the timer is up and she's
Oh
going up to
yeah.
that song
Mhm.
is so good.
It
It
is.
gives me anxiety, but it's really good.
Mhm.
Or like the one where what was it? The guy she talked to up at the top in the like blouse, the old blouse, and he was like,
Um
"Oh, we only open the doors every couple years.
yeah.
The only way out is through the code." Like that music that was going on with the like
Mhm.
offhanded strumming was it
I
hurt
like the
me.
music for the Shepherd.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
That
was
one
really
was
good.
good.
Actually, all the music in that was good.
Ina's
It
kind
was
of
really well.
inspired like a whole genre called like webcore or something. Just Ina core, I've heard, or
Hell
just
yeah. I'm on board. Where it's just like, like 1999 like kind of internet and like weird kind of almost like Microsoft Sam, Microsoft Bob kind of shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want. I'm on board 100 million%.
So Japan,
Yep. Mars.
Mars.
Yep.
Anything else?
Um uh I don't know. Um I guess an easy one would be I want like VRChat to be real big and successful, but I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've seen it do a lot of good for a lot of people, like first person. So this isn't obviously just me saying it because I'm getting paid a salary. It's me saying it because like there's been people who have joined. In fact, let's just go on the fucking subreddit. Like every other day, there's someone who comes in and says, I found like my best friend through here. I found like my boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, through here. Or people got married that met through here.
Well, you wouldn't work for a company if you didn't believe in their product, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
that's kind of the whole idea. So
Yeah,
I, I
absolutely.
I think I think most of the people who are on VRChat collectively believe in it as a social platform first and
Yeah.
foremost. Like we all get along here, and we can all it's like how when you meet people in real life, it's hard to break down the ice and see like where people stand on everything and how you kind of line up with people. There's already a predetermined when you come into VR is that we all have VR headsets and we're all
Yep.
we're all here, and usually if you have an anime avatar, which 99% of us do, unfortunately.
As you do.
There's
Yeah.
the predetermined notion that we all like anime, so it's like a good first couple steps. Like you get it all out of the way, and then you're like, okay, we started here, so we can just go straight here. You know, we can
Mhm.
skip all of that, and you form better connections. And I think that's why time online feels so different. Like a month feels like a year, you know, just because there's
Yeah.
so much development in such little time.
Yeah. I felt that a lot when I first started with VRChat. Like, because I actually remember Lanewell asking me, um, like what I had going on, because I was just like super busy all of a sudden, because I like started meeting all these people and like getting ideas for projects and like worlds and avatars, and then eventually the tutorial videos and stuff like that. And um, she was like, "You're like doing so many things," and I jokingly told her, because we're both unfortunate fans of Homestuck from years long
Oh,
ago. It's like I have so many irons and so many fires. It's like it really was true though. It was just like it makes time both speed up and slow down. Like the month of July and August in 2017 took forever, and then also were passed like instantly.
yeah. It's kind of
Then again,
insane. I mean,
2020
when I
passed
started
really
VR,
downhill.
it does not feel like what is it? 4 years ago now? I mean, that's
Is it
ridiculous.
2020?
Almost 4 years.
Maybe,
It's
yeah.
getting there. Yeah. Jeez, dude. That's ridiculous. I feel like
It's
I got
messed
my
up.
Vive like a year ago.
Hmm.
I got my Index like a year ago. God. Time online is weird, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it was good having you. I hope you come back. This was fun.
Uh,
I enjoyed
It,
this.
it was very good. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the invitation, and also thank you for not asking me the really, really hard questions I'm not going to give you an answer to. So,
When is X feature going to come to VR chat?
the answer, as it always is when it's done.
I can't ask too much for a product that is free. I mean, I'm paying for VRChat Plus because I love you
Yeah.
guys, but then again, it is a free product, just like Discord. You know, with Discord
Yeah.
Nitro.
It's free unless you don't want it to be.
Exactly. Well,
That's
hey,
all.
I hope we see you again, and
Mm.
I wish you luck on the development in the next couple years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I really want this platform to succeed. That's why I'm
don't
here.
worry. We're not going anywhere. We will fight, blood, sweat, tears, tooth, knife, however that saying goes. Yeah.
Adapt or
All of those.
die.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you all in the next one.
See you later.
Bye.